The person with dyslexia finds it very hard to carry a sequence of directions and struggles with planning and organization. But people with dyslexia often have good skills in other areas, such as creative thinking and problem solving. They are excellent and expert in such point. And now let's move to the other challenge that we have with Maha.
Yes, dear. So here we go with the ADHD, or the Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. ADHD, or Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, is one of the most common neurodevelopmental disorders of childhood. It's usually first diagnosed in childhood and often lasts into adulthood as well. Children with ADHD, or the Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, may have trouble paying attention, controlling impulsive behaviors. They may act without thinking about what the result will be, or be overly active. Okay, so as for the signs and the symptoms of the ADHD, it's normal for children to have trouble focusing on behaving at one time or another. However, children with ADHD do not just grow out of such behaviors. The symptoms continue. They can be severe and can cause difficulty at school, at home, and with friends as well. A child with ADHD may or might daydream a lot, forget or lose things a lot, squirm or fidget, talk too much, make careless mistakes or take unnecessary risks, have the hard time resisting temptation, have trouble talking or taking turns, have difficulty getting along with others. So he is really suffering, and sometimes teachers confuse the symptoms of ADHD with the misbehavior. And this is a very sensitive problem, because they are overloading the student. He is suffering from disorder, some mental disorder, and they are accusing him of being misbehaving. So as teachers, we have to be that well experienced in figuring out the difference between the two symptoms, the misbehavior and the ADHD. Yes, Sharihan, the floor is yours. Yes.
Okay, so here, do you all as teachers have such type of students in your class? Let's write it down in the chat box. Do we find a student who is not paying attention, who cannot read, who is facing problems?
Here Siham is saying very naughty in class, aggressive as well. People are saying yes, many like this, sure. So they are, of course, many of us are experiencing the same thing in class.
And due to COVID-19, guys, do we know how to deal with them? It is a problem in class. Now we are having another problem while dealing with the online with such students. Do you agree?
Yes, of course. Yes, many. Yes, people are saying many.
Great.
Yes, you know, Sharihan, as Dr. Huwaida mentioned, due to COVID-19, the whole world is sitting in front of the same screen, learning the very hard lesson for the very first time of COVID-19. Yes. So we are all facing this very big problem, and we need to be well equipped. It's for the very first time that we witness such a great problem, and it's worldwide. It's not limited to a certain region. So it's a global problem. Yeah. So here we go. Yes, dear.
Yes, it is. And that's where Maha is going to tell us what is meant by no child is left behind, or no student is left behind.
So the No Child is Left Behind Act aimed to ensure that all students, regardless of race or socioeconomic status, would have the opportunity for a solid education. No Child is Left Behind mandates that all teachers must be highly qualified. By the end of 2005-2006 school year, according to the law in the US, highly qualified means that a teacher must meet the license and certification requirements of the state in which they teach. Okay. So as for introducing new apps, we have two very interesting apps today. So what about Nearpod, Sharihan? Would you please introduce it to us, please?
Yes, one of the apps that help in solving this problem and solving the dyslexic problem is Nearpod. Nearpod is like that you can have different resources in one place. You can have PowerPoints, Google Slides, any video, interactive. It can be shown on the screen for your students. You even can upload videos directly from the YouTube using the Nearpod. So it gives every student a chance to show what they know, add real-time checks for understanding that they have built an accessibility feature like audio responses, like Microsoft Immersive Reader. Also, they can create lessons, which students love so much. In Nearpod, you can add media like virtual reality, like simulations, like games. So let's watch this video, this very short video that will give us a brief info about what is meant by Nearpods.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Introducing Nearpod. With Nearpod, you can make every lesson interactive. Launch lessons your students can't wait to join, with collaborative, engaging activities like virtual reality, simulations, and gamified quizzes. As the teacher, you'll always know where your students are with Nearpod's formative assessments, including polls, open-ended questions, draw-its, and more. Get started with what you already have. Upload any of your favorite resources, PowerPoints, Google Slides, and videos, including directly from YouTube. Then, add in media and formative assessment in a few clicks. And now you can add questions directly into videos to make them interactive. Get started even faster with our library of pre-made lessons and videos, built in partnership with some of your favorite brands. You can use them as is or customize to meet the unique needs of your students. Once you're ready to launch your lesson, choose from 3 teaching modes. In live participation mode, you control the pace and students participate on their devices, either in person or remotely with web conferencing. In student-paced mode, students move through and participate on their own, whether they're working from home or in class working in centers, stations, or groups. With front-of-class mode, you can use Nearpod without student devices and facilitate collaborative discussions. Imagine what you can do with Nearpod. Your students will love lessons that combine engaging media with collaborative ways for them to show off how much they've learned. You'll love unlocking student understanding in real time and having reports to inform the next day's instruction. You'll wonder how you taught without it. Learn more and get started for free at nearpod.com.
So, as she mentioned, and we are going to see now in the features, Nearpod is for free as a free app, okay, and we can have the one with the subscription.
Introducing Nearpod. With Nearpod, you can make every
the one with the subscription. It will have more features.
Sharihan, would you please try to reset the voice is not clear. It's echoing, my dear. So maybe
Is it clear now?
Yeah. Now it's clear. Yes.
Okay. Okay, so how can we sign for Nearpod? You will see now on the screen that we have 3 options, either signing as a teacher or a student or an administrator. And we, of course, will sign as teachers. Okay? It will show you a very short video also about how can we make an interactive lesson in Nearpod. What are the tools that can we have showing our students a lesson, an interactive lesson on Nearpods.
Very good.
To start with Nearpod, click Create Your Own Lesson, which takes you to a blank lesson screen. If you have existing PowerPoints or PDFs, drag and drop them into the app. Add activities, including open-ended questions, quizzes, and more, to turn your old slides into an interactive Nearpod lesson. Once your activity is created, you can drag and drop it anywhere in your lesson. Make sure to explore multimedia assets you can add, including virtual field trips, YouTube videos, science simulation, and others. When you're done, click Save and Exit, provide the lesson details, and your lesson is ready to launch. Now it's your turn. Have fun exploring and creating your first Nearpod lesson.
So as you can see, it's very easy that we can make a lesson. Let's dive in the session, dive in this application or this website and see more. I'll stop sharing now this in order to show you
क्या बुरखे वाली
Slide 11 there.
ये देखो दूसरी.
There is an echo, some sort of an echo.
Yeah, Egypt के बोलो.
I think that the internet is cutting. Sharihan is not here.
कहते हैं बहुत लोग जमा हो गए.
can you hear me now,
Okay.
guys?
Yes, dear.
समझ
Yes,
में आती है.
you've stopped sharing.
Yes, I stopped sharing because I will share the Nearpod to show you how you can move on with this app. Okay? As soon as you make an account with your normal Gmail, okay, you will
मैं
have
ज्वाइन करती थी. इंडिया वाली औरत ने बोली अरे 10:30 बजे अपने यहाँ से 10:30 बजे.
Dr. Waita, please, would you please mute everyone?
Yes, here we go, dear. Go ahead.
Thank you, thank you. So this is the interface. This is my account, and I'm in the free accounts. Okay. This is how we were going to see. Can everyone see the screen?
Yes, dear.
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yeah.
So we will move to the Nearpod library. You can search with the lessons and activities. You can search with the subject. You can search with the grades, whatever you like. Okay. So I can use, for example, English language arts, and here you find a huge number of lessons that are available for you to use. You can choose by the grades, and they are also available for you to use. Okay. If we choose activities, you will find also ready-made activities. And if you choose videos, you will find ready-made videos that explain the session. And when you click on them, either you give, as mentioned in the video, either it will be shared on the screen or it will be in the interface of the student. He can follow on with himself. Okay. In order not to take more time, I want to show you how we can create a lesson or a video or a Google slide. When you click on create like this and click on a lesson, you will see that it will give you this dashboard where you can choose different options. Add a content or activity, click on it, and here we go. These are the contents that you can use. You can create a video, you can create a slide, you can create a virtual trip, which I love so much, and I will show you now how it is ready-made virtual trip. You can take your students whenever and wherever you want to take them. Okay, for example, if we take them to the Great Pyramid, and here we go. As a preview, you will see now that we are in the already prepared the virtual trip for us. If we click on enter like this, here we are. The students can put on their Googles and we can move in the pyramids as if we are taking photos, enjoying the trip while we are sitting on in front of the screen. So what do you think of this?
This is awesome, dear. I've already shared the link of Nearpod on the chat box.
Thank you, Maha. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Also, we can have direct videos from BBC, which are well organized and well revised videos. You can have your own slideshow. You can put your own audio. And the very good thing about Nearpod you can share Google Slides, you can share it on Zoom, you can share it on Google Classroom. It's already integrated with all such sessions. So do you think as a dyslexic student will face a problem while having a virtual trip now? Will he face it?
Really, it's making things possible. You know, technology is making things for natural people easier, but for disabled students, they are making things possible.
Yes, sure. So this is with the very first technique that we have today, and now let's move to the other one. Okay, I will share again the slides.
Yeah,
yes, this time. Here we go.
Let's go to slide 12, my dear. So it's slide 12?
Yes. Yeah. And here we go now with Sway. Maha, would you please tell us about how we can use Sway with our students in order not to be left behind?
Yes, my dear. So there are many stories to tell in classroom and education, and students use digital storytelling to make their voice come alive. Digital storytelling combines modern technologies such as images and videos and the words of the writer to create a clear message. The stories that get told are varied. And here we have some examples that we can demonstrate together. We have a family report that includes pictures of relatives and an interview with a family member. We can have a science lab journal with images of a plant and short videos that explains photosynthesis and images found online. We can have a classroom newsletter complete with pictures from open house and links to resources for parents. We also can have a fine arts program with videos from rehearsal and an interview with the director. We may have directions on how to use the new classroom 3D printer that includes pictures of students' creations. Also, we have a list of new books purchased for the library with pictures of the book covers and short summaries of each book. So it's a really very rich resource here. And we may, if you need to know how to use Sway, here is the tutorial video of Teach Me What is Sway. So thank you for sharing.
Again, can I add something, Maha? Again, yes, Sway is for free. It is not paid. It's a free application. Let's watch the video together.
Microsoft Sway is a free application from Microsoft. You do not need a Microsoft subscription to use almost all of its features. All you require is a Microsoft account, which you can create for free. However, some features such as analytics, which allows you to see the stats on your projects, may not be visible in the free version. Instead, you will need an Office 365 account. Sway allows you to create visually stimulating presentations, reports or interactive stories within minutes, which is perfect for education. By creating a Sway, you have the opportunity to help students focus on the content of the project rather than spending a lot of time making it visually appealing. You can download the Microsoft Sway app from the Microsoft Store for free, and this will install a desktop version on your PC. Alternatively, you can go to office.com and use your Microsoft or work login details and access it from there. You could either click on All Apps or click on the App Launcher or search for Sway on the top search bar. By using a storyline template, Sway allows you to build projects using cards. These cards could be text with images, embedded videos or audio, or interactive PowerPoints. Sway presentations are perfect for a range of class activities such as science lab reports, book reviews, teacher tutorials, field trip reports, and a great platform for flipped learning activities. Once you've completed making your Sway project, you can send a link to others to view or edit, making it perfect for individual or group projects. Click on one of these to enhance your teaching and learning, and click on the subscribe button so you know when more useful videos are.
So Maha, let's move on with Sway and more features.
Yes, so with so many stories to tell, finding a digital resource that can make these stories come alive can be a challenge. Finding a tool that also lets the writer focus on the content of the story rather than get sidetracked with endless options and settings is a challenge. Microsoft Sway meets such needs and more. It's a mobile, adaptive digital storytelling tool that lets students and educators focus on content over format. This free Office 365 tools combines text, images, video, and other embedded content to tell a story. A Sway can be linked to a QR code for easy sharing, or a Sway can be embedded into a OneNote class notebook page. A Sway can be viewed and copied as a template, and the creator of the Sway can even track how many times their Sway has been viewed. These reasons and more make Microsoft Sway a powerful digital storytelling resource. This course will teach you how to create a Sway by showing different examples of how Sway could be used in the classroom. Each module of such course in the Office 365 will also ask you to reflect on what you have learned and create a Sway to practice your learning. When you are finished, you may consider sharing your Sway with colleagues to teach them about the digital storytelling and Microsoft Sway, Microsoft 365. So how could digital storytelling be used in your classroom or your school? You may make a list of different stories that get told in your class, either by you or by your students. Some examples could include a travel journal, a lab report, a research paper, a newsletter, a classroom procedure, instructions for classroom technology, fine arts presentation, or a flipped or blended learning activity. All this can be, you can make use of Sway in it. Okay, so here we can go with the, I think, with the other video here, yes?
Yes, let's go with a very short video, 1 minute video, show how to start a Sway.
Start a new Sway by going to sway.com. Click Sign in the top right-hand corner. You can sign in with an Office 365 account or a Microsoft account. Start a new Sway by clicking on Create New in the top right-hand corner. You will start your Sway by editing the storyline. Start by giving your Sway a title. The title will be on a heading card. You can add other types of cards that will have content. Click the green plus sign at the bottom of a card to add a new card. Sway will suggest different types of cards to add. A heading card gives the Sway different sections. These cards contain text with an image background. A text card might come after a heading card. It contains text that can be formatted for a list or to include a hyperlink. Image cards can also be added. They contain pictures and captions. Continue to add images, text, and heading cards to build your Sway. It may also be faster to start a Sway from a template. Go to the main Sway page to access templates. Select any of the templates. They may provide the right inspiration to get you started. Whichever method you pick, it's easy to start a new sway. Start a new sway.
Yes, dear. So my recommendation for all of you is please go ahead and start making your own digital story with Sway. You're going to create a Sway that is all about you. Create a new Sway and change the first heading card or the title to Who Am I? Add 3 more heading cards and use the following text in them. Where do I live? What do I love? What have I learned? And you can add a background image to each one if you want, or you can leave them blank as you wish. So click the play button to see how your Sway is looking so far. And here we go. Thank you very much for being with us today. It was a pleasure for this very short presentation. So if you have any questions, we are all here for you. Yes. Thank you, Sharihan. Thank you, my backbone. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Huwaida, for this opportunity.
Dr. Huwaida, for letting us join you.
Thank you so much, guys. It was a fabulous presentation. I myself liked it. Thank you so much. We have some sort of question from Haneen. She's asking, does it enable learners to cooperate and interact virtually during the process? She means Nearpod, I guess.
Yes,
Right,
of course.
Haneen?
Nearpod and Sway as well. They are meant to be collaborative apps. Yes, Sharihan, go ahead, dear.
Yes, both of them are collaborative, and both of them you can have the students work, as we watched in the video, they can work in centers together, or they can work online, or they can work alone. So they are, it has the collaboration part. Yes, sure, Hani.
Yes, and you can keep track of your how many times your work has been viewed, as well as the changes that are made by the students.
Yes.
Yeah. So here we go.
Thank you. And Dareen likes the app. She thinks it's a very nice platform. Thank you, Dareen. And Muhammad is asking who is going to teach the students how to manage using online activities.
Yes, you know, this is a very good question, dear. As for normal students, okay, it's easier than having students with problems, with learning problems. So I think that parents here play a very important role in creating a sort of a team between the teacher, the student, and his parents or his guardian. So this triangle of collaboration can make things easier and better. So we need the aid of the teacher, the aid of the student himself and his interaction and his working hard, as well as the support of his parents as well. So here we go. And
can I add something more, Maha, please?
Yes, dear.
And also depends on the age of the student. For example, if you are teaching teens using such apps, they will enjoy it and they will start working on it very easily. And we will need this triangle that Maha mentions, of course, with the young age, in order, because during COVID-19, it will not be the teacher alone or the student alone or the parent alone. It will be a triangle.
Or even the shadow teacher.
Or even
no more shadow teachers now.
Yes. It will be a triangle working on with all directions mutually between these three directions and between these three corners, the teacher, the student, and the parent.
And you know, Dr. Huwaida and everyone here, that making a sort of a routine for the online sessions makes things very easy, especially for the young age. If you make a sort of a routine that you train your student that you are going to start with so and so and complete as such, they can follow your track easily. Yes. They can be self-dependent by time. You know, at the very beginning, they will need the aid of you and their parents, but later on, they will be self-dependent.
They will need to set the routine. In the usual way, we always, with the young students, we set routines, and then they will move on together. And we will move
here we develop the students' autonomy.
Yes.
Here we go. So,
and we have here, they say student-centered, as you just mentioned. Darina is just mentioning that it helps the student to, like self-centered classroom, which is effective.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, thank you so much. I guess if you have any questions, please, you can unmute yourself in a minute. We have only 1 minute.
Yes, we have only 1 minute left.
Okay. Okay, I guess there is no question, Anna, and let's all say thank you so much. It was an informative and excellent, amazing session. Thank you so much, Sharihan. Thank you, Maha. Thank you, guys. And now, guys, let's go.
Our pleasure.
It's our pleasure to be with IELTA. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Here we go. Best of luck
Thank
for
you
all
so
of us.
much, guys.
Yes,
Thank you.
Best of
Bye.
luck to the coming presenters.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Best of luck to the coming presenters.
Okay, thank you, guys. It was a nice session. Thank you. Okay, now we have the floor with Eka. We have here Eka Melades. Eka Melades is an English language teacher and entrepreneur from Georgia. She's a passionate teacher with more than 15 years of experience in teaching and education field. Eka Melades is a CEO of English Language Center and Training Center in her home country, Georgia, that has branches in 2 cities, in Tbilisi and Batumani. She is also teachers training in teaching methodology. Eka Melades is an ambassador of IELTA Georgia, assistant professor in American Studies, and TESOL TKT certified teacher. Please welcome Miss Eka. Hello, Miss Eka.
Thank you so much, Ruwaida, for this nice introduction. Thank you. Thank you so much to all for having me. I really appreciate it to be a part of this conference. My presentation will be focused on contemporary method of teaching vocabulary. I have been collecting and using these best tools and techniques to teach in better way and help teachers to teach them how to teach in better way. The skills that I will be sharing with you are based on Cambridge teacher training, internet resources, and my own experience, which I have been gathering for more than...
Please share your screen.
Okay, I will
share your screen?
Okay. Yeah, I can. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
And so, thank you for this opportunity to work with you. I really appreciate, as I told before. Now let's go on to my main presentation about teaching vocabulary. Wait for a minute. I will move this. Okay. Well, so as I told them, I have to talk about contemporary methods of teaching. And teaching methods in English language teaching have varied over the years, and it's changing. The huge development that has taken place in the area of teaching materials is, of course, dramatically increasing this using of computer and other digital resources, and especially in this period of pandemic. However, it's important to remember that many students and teachers still prefer to do most of their learning and teaching through course books, for example, and perhaps mainly because they are more flexible and adaptable to the individuals. Today, I will try to cover shortly both of these topics. Of course, both with the digital resources. So content is what students need to learn.
Eka, will you please start the PowerPoint, because it's like tiny font, and we need to magnify the writing, please. If you can start, you can start a slideshow.
Yeah, I started, but how is it? Yeah, slideshow. I share.
Slideshow, please. Yeah, click on a slideshow at the very at the top of the screen, we have here slideshow, animation, review. Click on slideshow. That one at the top. Yeah.
This one, it's visible now?
The slideshow icon at the top. You can see home.
At the top.
Home. Yeah. At the top.
If you would like to go to the volume part where the zoom, when you make zoom, next to it there is a small icon. You press on it and it will start slideshow.
It's not visible. I know how to share, but why it's not visible, I don't know. Yeah, I stopped sharing and I am sharing now. And like this way. Is it visible? Can you see?
We can see your screen, but we need the slideshow. So if you please, you would go down where you have that zoom in. Okay, there is a small icon. Yes, down. Go down to the taskbar down below. Yes. And you press on the small icon, then it will start slideshow. Yes, go to the right, please. To the right. Yes, down.
Set up. You know, it's like set up.
Okay.
Can you see the cup at the bottom? It's very
here, yes.
The one before.
I can't.
The full screen.
I cannot get. Yeah,
it's like a cup.
Okay.
Press F5 on keyboard.
Great.
Yes.
Good job.
Okay, come on. Thank you so much. You are really colleagues and real friends.
Thank you.
Friends in me.
No worries.
Okay, but it's not moved or something. Okay.
Okay, now you can start.
Yeah.
Because we have
Content is what students need to learn, aspect of vocabulary knowledge, how best to teach vocabulary, but it's very short, of course, a lot of materials to teaching this, but in this short time, I could manage this brief information and something. Remembering vocabulary, presenting new vocabulary using online resources and ideas for vocabulary work in the classroom and using these online resources. So introduction is like this, that there has been a great deal of research on vocabulary teaching in recent years. A major findings has been the overall importance of vocabulary knowledge, particularly for reading comprehension. In order to read and understand an unsimplified text in English and guess the words they did not know before, learners probably need to know several thousand word families. Moreover, it appears that acquiring vocabulary simply by reading or listening during a language course will not provide learners with the amount of vocabulary they need. What students need to learn: aspect of vocabulary knowledge, pronunciation and spelling, of course, its grammar, collocational links, connotations, appropriateness of use, and relationship with other items in English and in a language, students' language one. Language one, as you know, a native language, yeah? Pronunciation, spelling, and grammar. The learner has to know a word sound like, its pronunciation, and what it look like, its spelling, how to write like. These are fairly obvious characteristics, and one or the other will be perceived by the learners when encountering the item for the first time. The grammar of a new item will need to be taught if this is not obviously covered by general grammatical rules. The words which take ing forms after them rather than the to infinitive, for example, regular or irregular, countable or uncountable, the same time, for example, when you are demonstrating one word. We may present verbs such as want and enjoy together with the verbs that follow them. For example, when you face to this word want, you have to, so teacher has to tell and point that after want, you have to use to the same time using this prepositions. So prepositions responsible, for example, when teacher face or students face to this word responsible, teacher has to point or tell that you have to use for the same type, not separately for, like this. Remind someone of, for example, and like this way, yeah. Introduction question. So I have introduction question here. Please, if you're able to, for example, think about 5 or 6 examples of items in the language you teach. So English, yeah, whose grammatical characteristics are not obviously covered by a regular grammatical rules, and which you would therefore need to teach when you teach the items. Can you write, for example, 2 or maximum 3 minutes? Participants, please write down, think about previous topic and choose 5 or 6 examples, or even 2 is enough.
Yes, we are waiting for your responses, guys.
Okay.
Yeah, phrasal verbs, yes, said. Doris said idioms and phrasal verbs. Yes, we need 5 to 6 examples, guys, of items in the language. Yes, Sama, Hannah is writing break a leg.
For example, think about how to teach these words, for example, which you think about this, how to demonstrate them to students, I mean.
Yes, can you repeat the question again, Eka?
Can you think of 5 or 6 examples of items in the language you teach whose grammatical characteristics are not obviously covered by a regular grammatical rule, and which you would therefore need to teach when you teach the item?
As if it's a conditional too, is asking Hanan figures of speech. Hanin is posting in the chat that metaphor, phrasal verbs, idioms. Yes, Eka. Tense.
Yeah, it's possible, and you have teacher has to think.
Mona regular verbs. Mona Ibrahim. Mona is saying the answer is irregular verbs. The example you want?
Yeah.
Glitchy.
Yeah, it's
Dora is asking, is it glitch?
Not no. Glitch.
Yes, Doris wrote irregular plural noun. Doris. Jana, idioms.
Yeah, for example, even idioms, yeah.
Hannah Samah is asking, the question is somehow ambiguous. As Eka, they want they want more clarification for the question. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Dia?
Yeah. Some bad line, but it is.
Hannah needs more clarification.
Yeah. Clarification about question. For example, when it's irregular verb, it's correct, and it's not shown that ed is the end of the, for example, verb. So like this, you have to, of course, tell that it's irregular verb, it's in another, you have to use in another way, like this. It's some deadline or something, I don't know.
Yeah, Eka?
Yeah,
Closes?
Yeah, okay. Now let's go on to next, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, now talk about very shortly about collocations. So collocations, so as you know, refers to the way words tend to co-occur with other words or expressions. For example, we normally say tell the truth. For example, when you are, we are like teaching this truth, these words, just truth. You have to, teacher has to tell that, so pay attention to this, that it's in collocation is tell the truth, not say the truth, like this, the same time. Aspect of phrases may be grammatically correct and yet sound wrong simply because of inappropriate collocation, but by meaning it is okay, it's right, but not collocational. Yes, and the teacher has to pay attention to this as well. For example, if or just tell, when the teacher face to this word. Okay, interactive. So now I have interactive question again. But how can I return to this next? So now please think of 3 or 4 teach, so in English, and try translating them into another language. Do the collocation translate?
I think here you're talking about idioms and phrasal verbs, don't you? I think here you're talking about idioms and phrasal verbs. You mean idioms and
collocations? Yeah, collocations. No, it's a little bit different. Yeah, collocations.
Interactive
idioms,
question.
For example, phrasal verb you cannot translate straightly, yeah, directly, but collocation it's somehow possible. Think of now.
Muhammad texts that he give me a hand. Give me a hand, maybe a collocation. And Heba said, have or take a rest. And Haneen, sure, Arabism would be one issue. One solution would be using them in context. Yes. Take 5. Yes. One of the collocation. And yes, we have here collocation C in French, ma, and in Arabic, bahar. This is Doris Yones. Yes, thank you, Doris.
Okay.
Yes, do homework, Heba. Yes, do homework. Ghada Ahmad, when pigs fly. Okay, Eka? Yes, Samah is asking, is it words that go together? Yes, Samah, I guess. Right, Eka?
Yeah, collocations, it's right. Collocations, when, for example, as I told in previous topic,
we have
for example, it's, you can translate directly like this, but one word has to follow to another. For example, tell the truth, not say the truth, yes? Collocation is this. Phrasal verb is different, yeah?
Yeah,
you cannot translate.
Put yourself in my shoes. And Dareen said tall building rather than high building. Yes,
high building is a collocation of high building, but another is a phrasal verb. Idiom, not to regular. High building is a collocation.
In the chat box, that keep it. Do me a favor. Do me a favor.
Yeah, it's a collocation. Yeah, it's right.
Thank you, Yasser. Yes, right. Okay, thank you. Thank you guys for your interaction.
Okay, thanks for your for your interaction. And now last question as well. It's interesting. For example, what kind of learning problem might this lead to, and what might you do about it? For example, when you are teaching collocations. From your experience, for example, what kind of problems might be this lead and how you cope with this, for example. It's interesting. Now we are sharing experience, not
well, good collocation, Farah. Farah wrote, the water is crystal clear. It looks safe to drink. I like that example. Thank you, Farah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jana, maybe students use certain words with other unsuitable words. Yes, it happens. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, Doris said these are common mistakes.
Common mistakes, but what? I cannot hear. Maybe it's a bad connection or bad line, something.
Yes, you are asking about the challenges or the problems.
Yeah, about challenges. Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
about teaching collocations. Yes, Jana said maybe students use certain words with other unsuitable words. Yes, it happens. And Sultana, word by word translation from first language.
Yeah, it's influence of language one. Yeah, it's big influence of.
Actually, may I say something?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, actually, collocation, I think, differ from English language to many other languages. Here in Arabic language, if we want to translate the collocation, the English collocation, it will not fit. So we use another terms. Yeah. So, and as one of them said that we have a symbol to explain what we need, but the English language, English collocations sometimes are a little bit tricky and misunderstood for the first time. Yeah.
Yes, Sarah said that thinking in Arabic.
Totally.
Yes, Sarah said thinking in Arabic and translating to English. This is one of the
suggested this way.
Okay.
Suggested this way. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Eka. Thank you, guys. Thank you for your. You were so. Yes, you influence of one language. The influence, Muhammad
now
said.
Go on to.
Yeah. Yes, you can go.
Okay, now here I have aspect of meaning, denotation, connotation, and appropriateness. And what is? The meaning of a word is primarily what it refers to in the real world is denotation. For example, dog. When you face this word, you can tell the dog is an animal, yes? Connotational meaning exists as well, yes? Less obvious component of the meaning of an item. And what is? The associations or positive or negative feelings it evokes, which may or not be indicated in dictionary definitely. For example, the word dog, the same, as understood by most British people, has positive connotation of friendship. Where is the equivalent in Arabic? Maybe you agree now. As understood by most people in Arab countries, has negative association of dirt. Is it right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's connotational meaning of dog, not primarily that dog is an animal, yes, but another associational meaning. And teacher has to, of course, tell about this. And appropriateness. In order to know how to use an item, the student needs to know about its appropriateness or use in a certain context. It's necessary, of course, and for example, from my experience when I'm teaching, for example, one word, I give them a short sentence, in short sentence, and I'm trying to do them like this, that they have to create sentences, short sentences like clauses or something, to remember and understand easily in context, in which situation we have to use this or that word. For example, you may know that whip denotes meaning is cry, but it's more formal, tends to be used in writing than in speech, for example, and of course, teacher has to mention about this.
So you're meaning here that we are talking about slang language, and
no, not slang. No, not slang, but word has some words have some several meanings, and I'm talking about this, not slang.
That, but if the words is not formal, so it's gonna be informal, and it's not formal. It's gonna be something like slang language. We don't use it in written language, but in the spoken one.
Yeah, but it's not slang. For example, in informal letter, when students, for example, have to write informal letter. It's not slang, but just informal letter. For example, even in FC preparation, students have to write informal letter, and they have to use, for example, in informal letter, cry. But if it will be formal letter to apply for some job or something, they will write weep, not cry, like this. But slang, maybe slang is another very language of street or something. Yeah. Am I right or not? Maybe it's deadline. Do you hear me? Now let's think about 5 words which have different meanings. How would you present? Yeah, how would you present meaning in several aspects? For example, maximum 5 minutes. Let's think about 5 words which have different meanings. How would you present meaning in several aspects? As a teacher, for example, these 5 words, or even 2, 3, it is enough, but maximum 5 and maximum 5 minutes.
A greenhouse, maybe, or a hot dog.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah, for example, hot dog. What does it mean, hot dog?
White House.
How to translate primarily. Yeah, White House as well. Yeah. Okay.
Mona said present, left, fall. Siham said White Houses or White House. For example, Haneen house and home.
Yeah, exactly.
Dareen said, I would present these words in a dramatic scene, maybe dramatic way, visually. Jana said we can
visually. Yeah, visually with the children, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, visually we can demonstrate, for example, with children, but for example, with young learners, with teenagers, with adults, it's so it depends on, of course, teaching vocabulary depends on age, of course, depends on which resources you have to use. For example, with children, you can miming, drawing something, but not with teenagers and adults, for example. It's not suitable. Okay, if you have versions, if not, we can go on to next.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Now, meaning relationship. It can also be useful to look at how the meaning of one item relates to the meaning of another's. Though this is perhaps less essential for students than the aspect discussed above, there are various such relationships, synonyms, antonyms, hyponyms, for example, of one word. Hyponyms is items that serves as a specific example of general concept. Example, dog, lion, mouse are hyponyms of animal, lexical set, or yeah. For example, when this word occurs, you have to tell that this dog is lexical set of animal, like this. So now call hyponyms. It's some line. Other items that are same kind of things, blue, red, green, are coordinates, for example, and in this way. Now I have interactive question as well, but maybe would be better to skip these interactive questions. Okay, so now in word formation as well, it's important. Of course, it's quite important, especially in B2 level studies. Word formation and these tasks are faced in this B2 level studies, and of course important. Now, how best to teach vocabulary? How incidental and deliberate teaching. An important question is, can you acquire a large vocabulary incidentally, only through listening, reading, and conversation, or not? As we learn, for example, our language one. What do you think? It is interesting, yeah. Hello?
Yeah.
Red line or something?
Waiting for yes,
Is it possible?
Will you share this session on the group? Okay, we have already searched it, Mona. Okay.
Can you acquire a large vocabulary incidentally, only through listening, reading, and conversation, as we learn our language one?
Somebody is opening his mic, please.
Someone is in.
You can unmute yourself now. I muted everybody. Unmute yourself, Eka. Unmute yourself. I muted everybody. Sorry for that. Okay. Unmute yourself.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it was bit line. I cannot hear and understand. Well, if you know what, if I have time, I will talk, or wait, that would be better to skip this.
You have 3 minutes.
3 minutes. No. If in this case, I will go on to internet resources. I think it is interesting more. Here I have free websites which you have to use in vocabulary teaching, and it's really useful, really amazing. Now, what happened?
You can unmute yourself, Eka. Sorry for that.
Yeah.
Somebody is keep opening his mic. Sorry.
Yes, someone in some. Okay, these are free websites you have to use. You can use. It's very flexible and useful. I would like you to try. For example, I thought that these participants will enter in this. On these websites and try to do something, search, or would be better to send on chat, for example, this. How can I do it? It's really a useful one. So I would like to somehow Educa Play, for example. These are really useful, free, and very flexible websites which you can use during your teaching online. creating something, even some stories. For example, this is very amazing website. You can just click, and it's very easy to use these websites and create stories, vocabulary, something. I would like you to, for example, use now and tell your, for example, your expressions about this, but somehow make a copy or something and really useful ones. And this.
Okay, Eka, could you share your links, please, on the chat box?
Yeah, I will do it after when I finish. I will send this on chat with all of these links. It's really interesting, amazing, and free, and easy to use. So
Thank
it's
you,
me,
Eka.
myself, and thank you for attention like this. That was what I wanted to tell. It's a long talking topic, but so we have no time. It was interesting. Thank you so much for your interacting and your questions, answers. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Eka. Thank you so much. We have here Ines Radwan as asking how to learn a grammar in the primary stage. How to teach a grammar? You may mean Ines.
Yeah, in primary stage, in children. Yeah, you mean. So it's internet online resources is very amazing, really amazing. And you can do it, for example, use these websites even. But grammar, it's impossible with grammar rules. But in primary stage, you can with a lot of pictures, even videos, not without rules. Of course, it's impossible to teach with some rules. But in right grammatical forms, you have to teach them these words. And it's not necessary to teach grammar, especially something to teach children grammar. They need not in this way.
Yes, in a communicative way. Use the sentence.
Yeah,
it would be a good way. Yes, repetition, drill. Yeah, thank you, Eka. And that was really a fruitful session. And we all thank you so much for being with us today. You were so super nice and super amazing. And now let's go for the please.
Thank you so much to all participants, presenters, and you especially. You are our.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
No.
We really appreciate your participation today. Thank you, Eka.
Okay.
And now we the second country for the Egyptian. The countries that we are locked from all over the world. We have here Sarah Zaidan. Sarah Zaidan is an EFL teacher for cycles 3 and 4. She has been teaching English for she has over 10 years of experience, in teaching and currently working in High National College in Saramul Basmu. She is also the coordinator of Ali in IELTA, Lebanon. And recently she was assigned as a coordinator of the IELTA Wellbeing Department. Moreover, she is a private tutor in all subjects for learners. Sarah has a bachelor degree in business administration from Beirut Arab University Faculty of Business, and she has also learned English literature at the Lebanese University Faculty of Literature. Sarah is granted a highly developed sense of creating positive educational environment for students and is proficient in plan and developing appropriate teaching programs to optimize the learning process while effectively addressing students' needs. She is certified for the participating in myriad workshops and webinars involving educational progress and innovation. Please welcome Sarah. Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you, Mrs. Huwaida. Hello, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Will I share my screen? Have you allowed me, Ms. Huwaida?
Yes, you can. Welcome.
Okay.
Hello, dear.
You have to allow me, dear.
You can do so. Everybody can do this. Try again.
It's written
Try
here
again.
that the host has disabled participant screen sharing. Can you please check it?
All right.
Still not working.
Is it my fault?
Try
to do
it. Try now. Try it now.
Okay. Okay, it worked. Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, so can you see my screen, everyone?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so my presentation is entitled as Teaching the Mind and Touching the Heart, because the teaching learning process involves both the mind and the heart. And as an introduction, allow me to say something, which is, as the COVID-19 pandemic unfolded during the recent 2 years, necessitating a range of unprecedented social isolation and safety measures, barely any aspect of the daily life was left unaffected. The education sector was one of the areas which has certainly seen considerable changes as a result of COVID-19. When schools and universities around the world were forced to close their doors to prevent its spread, alternative methods and technologies had to be adopted, and online learning became an urgent necessity rather than an option. Yet, with the home environment being surrounded by potential distractors, keeping students engaged and interested and motivated as well can be one of the biggest challenges online teachers face. So in my presentation tonight, I hope that I could help the majority of the teachers to engage their students during their online sessions, especially that we are at the most crucial time of the year, by which most of the schools are ending. The objectives of my presentation are to identify the greatest influencer in the teaching learning process, describe what positive interaction means between teachers and students, and to discuss new methods that bring life to the class, engage students, and create ways that allow learners to think outside the box. But before I do this, I'd like to start with an icebreaker activity. It's called the positivity shot, and I'm actually familiar with this activity. My students know this and my colleagues. I need you, all participants and attendees, whether on Zoom or Facebook, to think of one adjective that best describes you. This adjective has to be a positive word, and it has to begin with the first letter of your name. So here we go. Can you please start sending me your adjectives, your descriptions, so that we can spread some positivity before we start?
Salah said confident, and Haifa said hilarious.
Nice, that's great.
Yeah, Farah fun, serious, trust, smart, strong, resilient, energetic.
Yes.
Wow, smart, selfless.
Yes,
Patient,
this is Sola, I guess.
Gorgeous, gorgeous. Yes.
Yes.
From Armenia, Armenia.
Great.
Adorable, adorable. Afifa. Yes, marvelous
Mona
mother.
mentioned marvelous mother. Yeah, that's really so interesting, guys. What about the reactions on Facebook? Is anybody checking so that we can have as much possible positivity as possible?
Let me check. We have here the team of IELTA. They are helping me in this. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Guys, you
Gorgeous
have to mention.
again.
You have to mention. Yeah, you have to mind that the adjective has to start with the first letter of your name. So let's try to stick to the English here. Dareen said devoted. Yeah. Hannah said honest. Okay, Remy is trying to help letter D. Thanks for being kind, Remy. Self-confidence, I've got motivated for Muna. Moderate for Mr. Muhammad. Any reactions from the Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay.
Motivate, yes, gorgeous. Patience, love, active here, elegant, unquestionable.
That's stunning. That's stunning. Someone is unable to find an adjective that starts with O. Could it be optimistic?
Yes,
are you an optimistic person? Optimistic.
Yeah.
Great.
Hannah, optimistic. Siham,
yeah, she
funny,
was trying
so
to help
funny.
the. Great, that's great. That's too interesting. Organized for Jana. She was still helping the O person.
Yeah.
This is amazing, guys. I hope that this has spreaded a pretty positive vibes. Now let's move to start with my presentation. The coming title is Everyone Communicates, Few Connect. Does anyone have any idea about the difference between communication and connection? Why are these two terms different? Knowing that we use them sometimes as synonyms, but why are these different? And please try to think of the teaching learning process. What is the difference between communication and connection? Do I have any suggestions?
Can I, Sarah?
Yeah, yes, of course. Feel free to say whatever you wish. For the participants on Zoom and the attendees on Facebook, you can also participate.
Yeah, I guess communication requires two persons, but connect maybe you can one person maybe. And we have here Mr. Mustafa. Communication is exchange ideas, and Dareen said that. Dora said expressing emotions. Afifa said communication person to person. Yeah. Mr. Mustafa connected to only one person. And we have here IELTA Indonesia. The truth is, while we can all communicate, it doesn't mean we are successfully connecting. You are communicating with your voice, hands, eyes, and body language, and get our message across. Wow.
That's really great.
Yes,
that's really great.
That's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you for your participation. Yes. Yeah. So I guess that most of the participants are familiar with the difference. So when you communicate, this means that you have to involve words or terms. That's why you can communicate with a lot of people, but you may connect to few ones, because connection involves three main things: the heart, the mind, and words. That's why I prefer to entitle my presentation as Touching the Mind and Teaching the Mind and Touching the Heart. Sorry for the inconvenience. So I repeat, connection involves words, heart, and mind. And when we stress the mind, this means that the mind has an obvious relation to go through with the body. And when it comes to the teaching learning process or the teaching profession itself, every teacher has to be a connector rather than only a communicator. And to make this obvious for everyone, I'd like to start with these beautifully crafted words that speak volume about the role that teachers play in inspiring the future generations. And of course, they are mentioned by Albert Einstein. It is the supreme art of the teacher to awaken joy in creative expression and knowledge. So these are some of the 10 essential characteristics of the 21st century educators. I'm not going to stick to these because I've got a short video for you to watch. And afterwards, we could reflect on what you are going to watch right now. Let me just share my audio. Okay, here we go.
They can smell fear.
Sarah, the
yes?
video has no sound. You have to share the sound first, Sarah.
I shared the sound. You were not hearing. It was just an applause.
No, the sounds are so clear and crystal. I can hear it.
Ah, okay. So it seems that you have got an inconvenience, Ms. Huwaida.
Maybe. Thank you.
So sorry for that. I'm gonna repeat it.
They can smell fear.
Good morning. Thank you. This is History of Art 100. We'll be following Dr. Staunton's syllabus. Any questions so far?
Your name?
Why don't you go first?
Connie Baker.
Catherine Watson, nice to meet you.
Dr. Watson, I presume.
Not yet. And you are?
Giselle Levy.
Giselle. If someone could get the...
Susan Delacourt.
Thank you, Susan Delacourt. From the beginning, man has always had the impulse to create art. Can anyone tell me what this is?
Wounded Bison, Altamira, Spain, about 15,000 BC. Joan Brandwin.
Very good, Joan. Despite the age of these paintings, they are technically very sophisticated.
Because of the shading and the thickness of the lines as it moves over the hump of the bison. Is that right?
Yes, that's exactly right. Next slide. This one you are probably less familiar with. It was discovered by archaeologists in
1879, Lascaux, France, dates back to 10,000 BC, singled out because of the flowing lines depicting the movement of the animal.
Impressive name.
Herd of horses.
I meant yours.
We call her Flicka. Elizabeth Warren. They call me Betty.
Very good. Betty is also correct. Just because something is ancient doesn't mean that it is primitive. For example, next slide, please.
My Serenus and his queen, 2470 BC. It's a funerary statue of the pharaoh and his queen, originally intended to preserve the pharaoh's soul.
Have any of you taken art history before?
No.
Let's go on slide.
Seated scribe, Egypt, 2400 BC.
Peasant couple plowing, 16th century BC, Egypt.
Snake goddess, Minoan, 1600 BC. Victoria door fresco, Minoan, 1600 BC.
Funeral mass, Mycenaean, 1200.
Could someone please get... Thank you. By a show of hands only, how many of you have read the entire text?
And the suggested supplement.
Long way from Oakland State.
Well, you girls do prepare.
If you've nothing else for us, we could go to independent study.
Okay, everyone. So this is one of the scenes of a movie called The Mona Lisa Smile. It is a positive and thoughtful movie about the importance of education. So Catherine Watson, which is Julia Roberts in the movie, anticipates working with the smartest students in the country and wants to create a difference in their lives. This was her first class. So she was completely astonished at the wide knowledge the girls have about traditional art, and they make her feel like she has nothing new to give them. Can you please share some of your ideas on how was Catherine Watson, or the new teacher, behaving in her first session? And not to forget, we all as teachers of maybe languages or any other subjects have definitely experienced the stress or the tension of the very first session with students, whether they were college students or students of any other cycles. So try to go back to your first experiences if you were teachers or if you were in this domain or in this profession, and try to tell me how was she feeling and why. Any ideas?
Farah said she didn't expect the unexpected.
Can I speak up, please?
Yeah, of course. Of course. Feel free to unmute yourselves if you want to share here on Zoom.
All right.
Go ahead.
You. She was frustrated because she expected them to have these new information, but they were familiar with this information. That means that the teacher is no longer the main source of the information. So she's got to be very creative because
exactly
she has to be.
So she had nothing new to give them. She had nothing new to deliver. That's why she felt that tense or that frustrated or that maybe astonished at the very. Yes. Do I have any comment?
Yeah, she was baffled. Like she was absolutely taken aback. What to do, kind of.
Yes, yes. And I've got something here interesting, that she hasn't had a plan B, which is really very creative. So she has realized by the end of the session that most of the girls, or probably all of them, have read the syllabus. So this means that she hasn't had anything new to give them. And this is what made her feel intimidated or tensed or stressed or nervous. Did anyone recognize or notice something at the very beginning of the video?
Can I say something?
Yeah, of course, Mr. Yasser. Go ahead.
First, the first term when the headmaster, I guess, or the boss of the school told her that they can smell fear.
Exactly. Thank you. Exactly. That's it. So
which means first impressions last forever.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. And
okay, go ahead.
Thank you. So sorry for interrupting your idea, but I intended to do this because I needed this word to move to my coming slide, which is the greatest influencer. So if I ask now, in the teaching profession, what is the greatest influencer? Who could give me an answer? Yeah, someone said she discouraged herself. She felt depreciated because of what the supervisor told her the direct moment before she entered the class. Of course, she has to be more confident, and maybe she is a confident person, but we have to also mind that having the first go or having the first experience in any of the profession could be intimidating. So the greatest influencer is self-confidence. Someone said passionate, well-prepared, self-realization.
Must be hybrid.
Hybrid, exactly. What else?
Do I
have any?
Which movie was this?
Thank you, Ms. Nisreen. It's the Mona Lisa.
Mona Lisa.
So not to be more late so that I can go exactly on time. The greatest influencer is the I power, okay? And the I power as a teacher is what a teacher brings to the table, okay? Besides self-belief and self-confidence, there has to be an I power. And how do we build this power? The big input is the thoughts. So it's the matter of what we think of. One of the scientific facts, I'm not sure if I have some teachers of science here, but one of the scientific facts is that we have got 50,000 thoughts per day. We think 50,000 per day.
Sarah, will you please unmute yourself? Somebody.
Yes, I did. Someone is feeling enthusiastic, and this is something good. This means my input is positive tonight.
Yeah, thank you. And try to make the session to the end of the session, okay?
Okay. So our brain is influenced by thoughts. And because the fact that we think of 50,000 thoughts per day, if we replace these negative thoughts with positive ones, we can definitely notice physical connection. And this is what we call the mind-body connection, and what one of my colleagues suggested to mention, the neuroscience. So the mind-body connection starts with the I power, with the positive thoughts. And the greatest influencer is when we control students' emotions in a favorable way. Okay, and who is responsible for that? It's the limbic system. The limbic system is a set of structures in the brain that deal with emotions and memory. Its function is to regulate autonomic and endocrine function in response to emotional stimuli, and also is involved in reinforcing the behavior. That's why the moment you are that positive, you could show self-confidence, you could have the high self-esteem. But when you have negative thoughts, you would definitely have a defensive mechanism, whether with your friends or anyone else. So the limbic system secretes some hormones. One of the hormones is the oxytocin, and it is responsible for the positive interaction between the mind and the body. And when positive interaction is there, we can make sure that a successful communication will be developed or will be there. However, if you were tensed or intimidated, this means that your limbic system is secreting what we call cortisol, or the stress hormone, leading to a negative interaction and in turn having a defensive. Is that clear? Do I make myself clear till now?
Yes.
Okay. So what about the greatest influencer when it comes to teaching professions? When a teacher brings her or his best, this means that students would bring their best as well. Improving students' relationships with teachers has important, positive, and long-lasting implications for both the academic and the social development of students, by which solely improving students' relationships with their teachers will not produce gains in achievement. However, those students who have close, positive, and supportive relationships with their teachers will attain higher level of achievement than those with more conflict in their relationships. And to make this come true, teachers must make their students feel valuable, appreciate the effort that students make, be patient as much as possible, and encourage and praise reluctant or shy students. To maintain this as well, teachers shall set a stage for learning. And when I say set a stage for learning, this means that it's not only the content what matters, but it's the method. So how I teach. Set goals. Teachers have to set goals and help students to stick to these goals. And of course, break down lessons and make them digestible. Also, we have to note or mind the timing, because timing is very crucial. And another scientific fact is that most students can sit and absorb information for 15 minutes at a time, not more. Another tip is to discover what motivates students and interests them, along with challenging students. Here, let me say that even if you may not have special talents, but your students are definitely curious. So when you challenge your students, you can directly motivate them. And when you do the things other than the books, you can keep your sessions interactive. And of course, last but not least, we have to all stress the 4 pillars of education, which are, I learned to know, I learned to do, I learned to be, and I learned to live with others. And when I say I learned to live with others, here I have to move to what we call metacognition. Bringing life to our class. So connecting via webcam isn't always easy, and it takes creativity to keep students' brains stimulated. In fact, teaching online requires using completely different skill sets compared to those used in teach in person. Some tips to maintain a class full of life would be: 1, ensuring mostly student talking time in pairs or small groups rather than teacher talking time. Excessive teacher talking time limits the amount of student talking time and results in teacher-centered lessons, loss of concentration, boredom, and limited speaking skills. So if teacher talking time is much more than student talking time, by the way, whatever the subject was, it's not, I'm not sticking only to languages. So if teacher talking time was always more than student talking time, the students don't take responsibility for their own learning, but learn what the teacher decides and when. So this indicates that students' autonomy is limited. It's thus limited. There are several reasons why students are quiet in our classes, but guess what? We could be one of these reasons. And of course, don't take this the wrong way. I know that we all do splendid job, but the more we speak, the less they do. And we don't want our students to attend our sessions simply to listen, right? So we shall prepare for an in-class debate and give our students their full time to answer. Do not answer every single question ourselves. We may use pair or small groups, just as I mentioned, and we always have to ask open-ended questions instead of yes-no questions. And during these student talking time, we shall emphasize fluency over accuracy. Something else, another tip is metacognition. Applying metacognitive learning. So metacognition, if I need to put metacognition simply, to define it simply, it is thinking about one's thinking. So to be more precise, it refers to the processes used to plan, to monitor, and to assess one's understanding and performance. So we have to help students decode the learning process by verbalizing our approaches to solving problems, creating thesis statements, interpreting written text, etc. Metacognitive practices help students become aware of their strengths and weaknesses as learners, writers, readers, test takers, group members, etc. So we have to ask for important questions. What did I know? Or students shall ask these questions. What did I know about this topic before the class? Then, what have I just learned? Then, how did I learn it? And what do I still need to learn? So teachers here have to stress 3 important things: show me, tell me, and convince me. Can you still see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Another tip is by personalizing learning by creating fun games, and personally talking, I believe that this one is the most important. Because the gamification theory in education is that learners learn best when they are also having fun. So gamification aims to make learning more engaging and appealing and goes beyond traditional learning methods. For example, do I have enough time to do this with the participants and attendees, or I just skip Mrs. Huwaida?
You can skip it.
We can do it, or I skip it?
You can skip this.
Okay, so I shall skip it. These are some ideas that teachers can do during their online classes, and this is, of course, other than the books, just like completing patterns, doing these games, and these games are could be done with several cycles or several levels. We also have some personalized fun games, such as Correct My Mistakes, where teachers can say something wrong and students have to give them the correct sentence back in a perfect manner. And this could be also with teachers of math or teachers of science or teachers of civics sometimes, or languages. You can also use a game which is called Would I Lie to You, by which you give 3 sentences, 2 of which are wrong and 1 is true. And if you need them to be more engaged and if you want them to open their cams, you can use some sort of activities like an ASN activity, where you ask them to write 3 adverbs of frequency, always, sometimes, never, on cards, and you start asking questions so they can show you their answers by always, sometimes, or never. For cycles 1 or preschools, you can do silent dictations by just mimicking the words. You can also describe some pictures for teachers of languages. You can play some games like Ask the Expert, where one of the students has to be an expert, and even if he doesn't know the answer, he has to pretend as if he or she knows it and convince his or her students, sorry, or classmates. The last tip is use technology to your advantage. So if you need to engage your students in a better way, you shall use technology to your advantage. And I'm going to show you some game-based learning platforms that we can use during our online sessions. We can play a game called the Scavenger Hunt. It's a game in which you prepare a list defining specific items, and your students seek to gather all these items on the list. So they could have some physical movements or during your session. They could be enthusiastic whilst you are crying out the words loud. You can involve colors, 5 senses, movement, texture, whatever you wish. So it is up to your creativity. Another game-based learning platform is Bamboozle. It brings engagement and fun to students during online classes. We have also Boggle, which is a word game in which players attempt to find words in sequences of adjacent letters. We also have Kahoot. I believe that too many teachers are familiar with this game-based learning platform. It's used for educational technology. You've got also quizzes. You have gamified quizzes, lessons, presentations, and flashcards. You also can use vocabulary, which is a library of hip-hop and rap songs, videos, and activities from K till 12, by the way. It's used in online learning. You have the Google Jamboard, you have a podcast, you have Padlet. These activities relate social and emotional learning and engage your students during your classes. They are there to support both the teaching and the learning process, and they build the 21st century skills. And of course, they increase motivation and accelerate learning. By this, teachers would be connecting rather than communicating. They could learn rather than only teach. I guess this is it. If you wish to have more ideas about these gamified activities, you can just tell me. And if you need to ask about any of the personalized games, of course, I can send you some references. This is the end of my presentation. I need to thank everyone for their support, especially the IELTA Association, especially my colleagues and friends at High National College, my family members, and everyone who encouraged and supported me. Thank you, IELTA Egypt, for being that kind and nice, and for allowing me to seize such an opportunity. Thank you, everyone. And if you have any questions, I'm totally ready.
Thank you so much, Sarah. It was really, really amazing session. I really like it.
Thank you, Mrs. Zuwaida.
Thank you so much. I guess the audience needs the slides. We're gonna send it to you on
Of course, they are ready.
Group. Okay, no worries. They say love session, but we have just one question. If we have time, I guess we are running out of time.
Yeah, I was
should we follow a new process to make students creative?
By the way, before I answer this question, sorry again, there is a form that has been sent right now. You can fill this form. It contains some questions about my presentation and of course your feedback. I would highly appreciate if you fill the form and I would check it later. Thank you. Yes, Ms. Huwaida, can you please tell me about the question? What question was?
Yes, should we follow new strategies to make students creative, or the one you have just mentioned?
Well, to make your students creative, you shall be creative, because the moment you involve some creativity, you have to make sure that they're gonna definitely be that creative. You would be really astonished and surprised of what students nowadays of this generation has to give us. So just give it a go and allow them to give it a go as well, and just watch them while they progress and while they succeed. You have just to give them their time, be patient with them, give them their time, and of course they would unfold their creativity.
Yeah,
I hope that I answered his or her question.
Yeah, thank you. And also, I guess to prolong the time of a student talking time, yes.
Of course, I mentioned this. Student talking time is really very crucial. We have to allow students to talk, even if they were saying something which is not true. Let's say I'm a teacher of language, teacher of English. Even if I have some grammatical errors sometimes, I won't mind, because I am encouraging my students to talk. So this is what I really attempt for.
Thank you, Sarah. You can follow on the Facebook. You can answer the question. Or even here on the chat if you wish.
Of course, I will.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so don't forget to fill the form.
Okay, thank you so much, guys. And thank you, Sarah. Will you please
Thank you. I hope you liked the presentation. Yes, sure.
Welcome. Thank you, Sarah. It was really, I like your presentation. Now let's go back to Egypt, and we need to go again to the land of the pharaohs. And we have here Dr. Ahmed Fathi. Dr. Ahmed, let's see who is Dr. Ahmed. Dr. Ahmed is a teacher of English and an academic director of IELTA Egypt. He's also the academic director of Rawat IELTA Jadwi International School in Riyadh. Ahmed Fathi is a certified teacher training from Cambridge. He has got MA or master degree in applied linguistics and methodology, and an MA in educational leadership and education policies. He is a CELTA, TEFL, and a TESOL certified teacher and trainer. Welcome, Dr. Ahmed.
Hello, everyone. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
Thank you so much, Ms. Huwaida, for this session, and I'm following from the beginning. In fact, it's really fruitful from all the presenters in this sessions, and inshallah, I wish that I introduce something different that everyone can use it in his class or her class.
Dr. Ahmed, sorry for the interruption, but your voice is a little bit, the volume maybe it's a little bit lower, so please you can So please, you have only 5 minutes, and the voice needs to be, you know, a little bit clearer.
Okay, let me bring my headphone. Okay.
Okay.
Just.
Guys, we have here Dr. Fatih, the session, and then we're gonna have a break. And later on, we're gonna proceed with Mr. Yasser, and then we have at the final session, Dr. Arman Kasabian from the USA. So please stay with us. We have a break after this session. Thank you for your patience.
Is it okay
Dr.
now?
Fatih, we can hear you now.
Okay, so sorry for
Will you
that.
please share your presentation?
Okay. Is it okay for now?
Yeah, it's showing.
Yeah. Yeah. My topic today is about using assessment to support teaching and learning online and in regular classes. Okay. Let me share the next one. This is about my bio. So you have talked about this, so I'm going to skip it quickly. Okay. Our topic today about assessment. So I have a question here. What do you understand by assessment? Can anybody answer my question?
Excuse me, this is Arun from India. The assessment is one which checks the capacity of the student and which gives the outcome of the student, what he learned.
Mm-hmm. Another one.
Ashok said formative and summative assessment, and IELTA Indonesia FERA evaluation. Haneen said evaluating, measuring the understanding.
Okay, great. Okay, I have another question for you. How do you assess your students currently in your classes? How do you assess your students currently at your classes, in your classes?
Now Corona period.
Can you give us the message and the strategy that you are using in your class?
Shrika said quiz, FERA said tests. Mona helping to learn the learner to understand the objectives. Project-based learning, online assessment, using concepts related to tests, discussions for cycle 3, helping the learner to understand the objective. Yeah.
So we can use observation, for example. Do you use observation in your classes?
Projects.
Yeah, tests. Okay.
Yeah.
What else? Questioning, for example. Homework, portfolios, projects, and essays. Is it okay? Yes. I have another question. One more question. What is the purpose of assessment? What do you think is the purpose of assessment?
Quick questions about previous lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Making modeling.
Okay. Why do you do that? Why do you do that?
Dr. Ahmed, can you raise the volume a little bit? Because the voice is a little bit.
Why do you do this assessment? Why? This different types
and
strengths point learning outcomes.
Great. We use assessment to gather information about learning and teaching during the classes. Is it okay?
To gather data.
Do you agree on this?
Relevant, yes. To activate their cognitive abilities.
Yeah,
to
yeah.
make sure
Great.
that the aims are achieved. Yes,
Yeah.
Doris said to
This is
assess
reflection.
student learning.
Yes, for the purpose of reflection on teaching and learning in the
To know
class.
the student's level.
Oh, great. Great answers. So, okay, let's come to the next slide. Look at this one. What do you think are the types of assessment? We have 3 types of assessment. Can you tell me what are these types of assessment? Who can help?
Summative assessment.
Yes, we have.
Is one of them.
Yeah, great. Anyone know the answer? Who can give us another type of assessment?
Formative assessment. Formative.
Yes, we have formative. Let's look. We have 3 types. Assessment of learning. What's the assessment of learning? What do you think is it? What is the other name of this?
It's a tool to check the understanding of the pupils, the students.
Yeah, this assessment of learning means summative assessment. This is at the end of learning, okay? We have also assessment for learning. What's the assessment for learning? What's the other name that we can give to this?
Maybe formative assessment?
Yeah, sure. It's formative assessment. We use it to push or to motivate learning. So we have another or a third one, assessment as learning. Okay. These are the 3 main types we are going to talk about later. Okay. Let's come to the other one, the new one. Look at this picture. What do you think of this picture? What type of assessment is happening in this picture?
So we can extract their vocabulary, what kind of vocabulary they can use to describe the picture.
Now, I just want the name of the type of assessment or the type of assessment that is this picture refers to. Quickly,
I think he's trying to use both of them at the same time, and it's not correct.
Formative?
Yeah. Who else?
Formative assessment?
Yes, this is formative assessment. During the process of cooking, he is testing the food. This is formative assessment. This is like while teaching, you assess the levels, the understanding of the students. Okay. Okay, let's come to another one. Look at this one. What kind of assessment is this one?
This is the summative assessment because it comes at the end.
At the end. Do you think that you can go all these amazing paths without going over this bridge to have a look? How many bridges are there in this picture?
3.
3. So we have 3 stops or 3 tops you have to go over and look to check where are you right now. Okay, so this is also formative assessment. Do you agree? Do you agree with me on this? Is it a summative or formative assessment?
Summative?
Summative happens at the end of the process.
Yeah,
I think it's formative.
Yeah, what about this picture? What is it? Mr. Yasser?
Yes, it's a formative assessment.
It's a formative assessment.
Yes, of course.
Yes. Let's come to the next one. What do you think these people are thinking of right now? The teacher, what is he thinking of? And the student. What about the teacher?
She's she's modeling something as a project. And the students follow her steps to do whatever she does.
What do you think is happening in her mind right now, processing in her mind? What is the benefit or the benefit of this session? sitting in front of your student, in the middle of your students like this, among them.
Give the pupils a modeling, Dr. Ahmed.
Yes, it's a modeling, but we also, the teacher is thinking of what is he teaching, what the benefit behind, what the students have learned in his session. So we're thinking about or reflecting about teaching method, okay? What about the student? What do you think the students are thinking of?
Love their teacher very much.
Yeah, they love the teacher, and also they are thinking about what? Thinking about what? About their learning. They are asking themselves right now, what am I learning right now? What's the benefit? What's the target? What's the aim behind this this session? Okay, let's have a look. So we have two questions here. One from the student, what am I learning? It's his question or her question. How will this inform about my teaching? This is from the teacher, okay? Okay, this is what we call assessment for learning. This is assessment for learning. This is the process, okay? Both of the teacher and the student are thinking about the process of teaching and learning at the same time. Okay, so it's happening in the middle of the process of teaching and learning, okay? Let's come to this one. What is this teacher doing right now in the picture?
Asking?
Yeah, he's asking a question.
Giving instruction.
What's the benefit? Yes. What's the benefit behind? What's the benefit behind the questioning here?
Maybe to know the background knowledge of the students to start his lesson.
Yeah, he's
or
checking understanding. Yeah.
Or checking the understanding after the end of the lesson.
It's kind of an assessment also.
Yeah. What kind of assessment is
Formative assessment.
Excellent. Excellent answer. Let's see. This is also we call assessment for learning. Okay. So let's come. We call it also formative assessment. So we have these two are the same meaning, have the same meaning, okay? Formative assessment is assessment for learning. They are the same process, okay? So what are the strategies that the teacher can use here? Look at these three. Questioning, what else?
Getting feedback from his students.
Yeah, getting feedback from the students and giving feedback to the students. We can do this written or orally, okay? We have also peer and self-assessment. What do you think of peer assessment? What's the meaning of peer assessment?
Yeah, it's very important for students. They think first and then they peer and think and then they share their feedback.
Excellent. But here, what I mean by peer assessment, peer.
Students evaluate each other's.
Yeah, excellent. Students evaluate each other.
They correct each other quiz or exam or task that was given.
Yeah, essays or so. Yeah, excellent. What do we mean by self-assessment here? Self-assessment for the teacher or for the student?
The student himself correct what he did.
Who can do self-assessment, the teacher or the student?
For both, I think.
Excellent, for both. I think for both of them. The teacher can reflect on his teaching methods and the strategies, and also the student can reflect on his level. What do you think the purpose of this, of the three? We have a purpose or a benefit
to change the tools, for example, to do some changes in your teaching methods.
Yeah, to help the pupils learn, and to help the teacher also to what?
Convey.
Improve his performance.
The right track or not?
Teaching, yeah, to improve his teaching. Okay.
Or his method of teaching.
Yeah,
if they didn't understand.
Yeah. Do you think this is it clear now?
Yes.
Is this simple for you? Yeah, okay. Let's come to the next one. What about this picture?
Summative assessment. This is
family dinner.
It's a turkey, okay?
Yes.
What
do you think these people are doing right now, or they are going to do in the future, in the near future?
Summative at the end of
this summative
lesson.
The last
year.
step of
This
teaching.
is the product,
The
product of what?
This is what we call
yes,
what?
the summative.
This is we call what?
What is done is already done.
Summative
We cannot
assessment.
change it.
The summative assessment or assessment of learning?
Assessment as learning.
Yes.
No, still as learning is still at the end, okay?
It could be
so
be
we
assessment.
can go
It could be
forward.
assessment for learning because they will give their feedback while they're eating.
No, the process of cooking has ended. So
that's the final product.
And the process of tasting.
Testing.
What they have already gained from the whole process. So this is the final product.
This is tests and the standardized tests. This is practical exercises. This is the projects. This is at the end of the process of teaching and learning. Okay, and let's come to the next one because I have many slides, so I have to be quick. Okay? Look at this one.
Dr. Ahmed, please unmute yourself because I muted everybody because there's a lot of noise. So please unmute yourself. Can you hear me? Unmute yourself.
Yes, okay.
Because there's a lot of noise.
Sorry. Assessment of learning. It happens at the end of the process of learning and teaching. So we can apply or do tests, practical exercises. What's the purpose behind this is to find out what the pupils or the students know, understand, and can do, or don't know, don't understand, don't or can't do, okay? What progress have they made? We can stand on the progress of their learning, okay? This type of assessment happens at the end of the process of teaching and learning, okay? Now let's have a quick look, okay? A simple comparison between assessment of learning or summative assessment on the left, and we have also assessment for learning on the right, or what we call formative assessment, okay? If we ask when does this happen, it happens after learning takes place. This is a summative assessment. If we go to the other side, is integral part of learning process during the process, okay? So information is gathered by teacher for summative assessment. Information is shared with learners by this happens in the formative assessment. Also, we have information is usually transferred into marks after having tests or doing tests. So we have marks. But on the right side, we have information is available on quality of learning. So the teacher can stand on the progress of the students, so he can improve the methods of teaching, or can push or give the students extra exercises, or reteach some points of the curriculum or the syllabus, okay, in order to help them improve. So this process, the formative assessment, focuses on the quality of learning. If we go to the left side, comparison with performance of others. So we can use the marks or the results of this process to compare the students and classify them into grades, okay? Or for the promotion, certification, all this can happen using the assessment of learning. But on the other side, comparison with aims and objectives that the teacher has assigned before the lesson. On the left side, looks back on past learning, so we can study the history of the student. On the right side, looks forward to the next stage of learning. Okay. Dr. Huwaida, can you let them participate, because in order to be more interactive, can you? Dr. Huwaida? Okay, let's come to the next slide. Look at this diagram. What do you think of the first one, the R's in the first one? The teacher in the first one instruct, then instruct, then instruct, and at the end he assess or she assesses. Okay, but AFL or assessment for learning. Look at this one. It's a circle like this: instruct, assess, then instruct, assess, then assess, then instruct. This it goes in the circle shape. It's a continuous process.
Yeah,
okay,
that's you give and take.
Yeah, the first one is instruct, 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 and you can measure at the end, you can assess at the end, okay, at the end of the process. But assessment or formative assessment, you should instruct, then assess what you have done, and also instruct, then assess, and then instruct. You can assess first. You can start by assessing, okay? You can start by assessment. You can make what we call pre-test for the students, and then you start teaching, and after that you assess another time, okay? Is it clear? Okay, let's come to the last type of assessment, which we call assessment as learning. Okay, what's the benefit or the purpose of this? Enable the students to, as a process of assessment, we can use the process of assessment itself to improve the process of learning and teaching as a whole. Okay, and here the teacher and the student is the teacher and the student are accustomed to the process. They should know that, or accustomed that they should do assessment after every aim or every goal or every objective in the lesson, or after any work they have finished or done, so they can do assessment to check if they do it well or understood it well. Okay, so we use assessment as learning to identify and reflect on elements of their own learning. For both of the students and the teacher can do this process. So their own learning targets, practice self and peer assessment. Look at this diagram. What do you think of this diagram? Can anybody share with me, please, Dr. Huwaida?
Okay, Dr. Ahmed. Dr. Ahmed, I'm waiting for the responses from the participant. Okay.
What do you think this diagram refers to? Look at the right, look at the left. Who is in the right side?
Different types of assessments.
Yeah,
done.
these all types of assessments. So it's spread.
Give you a spectrum of their understanding.
Between the teacher
I think,
and
Dr. Ahmed, it's divided by the teacher and the student.
Excellent.
And the left,
it's not divided. It's not divided. It's what we call overlaid each other by to identify the role of the child and the role of the role of the teacher. So it started from the left.
Marwa Fathi said it's a kind of assessment, or it's a type, and the Haifa said it's the types of assessment. Doris said it's a rainbow shape teaching, learning, interactions. Mona Ibrahim said it's how assessment go. Siham said it's rule of teaching.
Excellent.
The
That's
rule
enough.
of teaching.
That's enough.
Yeah.
Do you think
Thank you.
Do you think it starts from the left or from the right?
From the left.
Excuse
from
me.
the left.
From the left to the right. Okay.
Yeah.
Can the student do the self-assessment without the help of the teacher?
No.
No.
Yes.
So it's what?
It's a cooperation between them.
Yeah, it's a
Both
collaboration. Collaboration between the teacher and the students. So it's in the graph, it's seemingly to be going from the left to the right, but in fact it goes vice versa like this. Each one of them should help the other to achieve the kind of assessment. So we have self-assessment, conferencing, and also we have portfolio assessment, concept mapping, questioning, teacher observation. We have teacher design, task and test, and at the end the teacher can apply the standardized testing. Do you have any idea about the standardized testing?
Sorry?
The standardized testing.
Yes, the SAT, the TOEFL, yes, all of these are standard.
The standard European
international
framework.
applied tests that can the teacher use to assess or to compare the results of his local tests results, okay, and those of the international grading, like Common Core standards and those like this. Is it okay now?
Yes, thanks so, Dr. Ahmed.
Shall I go? Okay.
Go ahead.
Look at this one. What do you think of self-assessment? I have asked this question before, but here, what do you think the steps of doing the self-assessment in brief?
The teacher provides a rubric for students, and then the student will assess his work or his writing or his reading based on this rubric.
Okay.
Yes, here Haneen said based on various common frameworks.
جميل.
I think, Dr. Ahmed, when we have independent learner inside our classrooms, they can assess their performance and they change their attitude about teaching. Are they right path or wrong path?
Mr. Mustafa, what do you think is the benefit behind applying self-assessment in the classroom?
I think we have a non-center teacher inside the classroom. When we put the pupils in the shoes of the teacher, he can manage his learning. He can motivate himself and others also.
At least
who is responsible here? Who is responsible, the teacher or the students, about the learning process here?
Student.
We agree that
so the student feel more confident and feel more responsible for his learning.
They will take ownership of their learning.
Yeah,
the self-assessment.
So they are involved in self-assessment when they look at their own work. Okay. The first step, children look at their own work in a reflective way. What we call this? What can we call this? Metacognition. This is reflection about learning, thinking about learning, okay? And this is, I think, the highest point at Bloom's triangle or pyramid, okay? That stage of evaluation, that the students is able to evaluate his work.
Hannah said this. Hannah Sameh editing their own work. Sahar Khalaf, be honest and critical, be proud, be professional.
Yes, that's it. So we have the top of the learning process. What's at the top of the learning process is evaluating yourself and feeling responsible about your work. Okay, and if your students can do this, so it's a great and what we call an amazing or outstanding work of the teacher, if he can help his students to reach this level of learning. Okay, so we can do this. So we can do this individually. So we can do this in small groups. So we can do this as a whole class. This is the grouping scheme. Okay, so look at this one. What about the criteria? Who is going to put or give the criteria for the students to help them assess their work?
Students can make their own criteria and the teacher.
Yeah, they can work together collaboratively to make the criteria they can use inside the class. So they can
construct their own rubrics. Yes.
Yeah, so they can use rubrics, they can use the checklists or whatever criteria they are going to use with the agreement of the teacher. Okay, so this is a shared work between the teacher and his students. So criteria must be agreed beforehand by the teacher. Okay, look at this one. What is the benefit or the purpose of this? Self-assessment fosters independence and motivation and positive classroom climate. Is it okay?
Yep.
Sure. Okay.
Yes, Dr. Ahmed, yeah.
Yeah, can be shared with other parties. What do you understand by this point? Shared by other parties. Who are the other parties?
School community, parents.
the school community or what? The parent. You can
Parents.
share the portfolio with the parent, with the headmaster of the school, with anyone, the supervisor. So the reflection of the students on their work, you can use as achievement portfolio that you can show to the parent or show to the headmaster or the supervisor. Okay, is it
Here
okay?
is also
Or
Mr.
you can-
Ahmed Fira. She said the beers. That means beers.
Yes,
And Hannah
parents.
also, yeah.
Yes, we
yeah,
can
and Hannah
use,
also said for real life.
Yes, we can use some examples or some examples of the students' work to and show them in the sticky board or on the walls of the class or in the corridors to show or to help the students learn from these examples. Okay, is it okay? Shall we go?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. What about peer assessment? Is it different from self-assessment?
Yes, yes, peer assessment.
Yes, who is going to do this?
Other
Who
peers
do
of the
this?
class.
The teacher or the other students?
Other
Students learn from each other.
Other students in
They
the
can-
same
The
class.
classmates.
Or other students in other
Yes,
classes.
the classmates.
Yeah, the classmates.
Yes.
So how can we do this? How can we do this? Should we
rubric can
divide the
be shared.
students in pairs and use this? Okay.
By
What
working
strategy
groups,
you can
I
use in your
think,
class?
by working groups, groups, yes,
Yeah.
they can recorrect their mistakes to themselves. That would be more easier for them.
Okay.
Here is Iman,
Let's
Dr. Ahmed. Here is Iman said that students assess each other, and Hannah said that there is group working and their groups.
Okay. So
Yes, you can.
we can
I
work in a small groups. So we can use groups using textbooks. Okay.
Can I say?
We can also group marking questions, compare answers, and decide which is the best answer. Okay. We also can use 1+1. What does it mean by 1+1?
One student assesses the one other.
Yeah, one student assesses another student individually,
Pair
one
work.
by one. Students in groups given a problem, for example, and simple exercise, and ask it to present findings to class. Peers asked to identify one learning point or make one suggestion, okay, to improve. Let's go to the next one. What do you think is this picture referring to?
Reflecting.
Reflection.
This
Reflecting.
is reflecting or what?
Thinking. Of their own learning. Of their own learning.
Feedback.
their
This is
yes.
very important in assessment. Feedback, giving and receiving feedback. Giving feedback to your students about their learning, about their work, and receiving their feedback about the method or the strategy that the teachers are using in the class. Okay, they can reflect on the teacher's work. Okay, but not directly that you explained very well or amazing. Or, no, not this way. If they can answer the exercises and do the tasks, okay. So here in this point they reflect on the teacher's strategies. Am I right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. What should we concentrate on in giving feedback? Look at this one. Feedback is most effective when it can confirms the students. Students what? What do you think?
Constructive, positive.
What should we what should we concentrate on?
Fully understand.
Constructive. It should be constructive and and then show them how to improve. The next
do you think we should focus on weaknesses also only or what?
I think feedback must be positive.
First, we give positive.
To reinforce the right performance.
Okay, and the weaknesses. Okay, look at this one.
Dr. Ahmed, Haneen said that constructive feedback can help learners know what they did wrong and aid them in approaching the learning process. And
Great
Iman
one.
also said that she can concentrate on good points only and treating their peers with respect. This is from Farah. And Hannah said that by motivational feedback. And Dr. Ahmed, there are 2 minutes and we can finish. So
okay, give me only more 5 minutes in order to finish this part, okay? And the other part I will delay to the next month, inshallah, okay? Okay, so we have effective feedback. We should concentrate on the strengths, the weaknesses, and where to go next. Not only the strengths and the weaknesses, should improve and plan the learning and teaching processes. Do you agree with me in this point? Should the teacher use the evaluation or the assessment results or the records that he has from the students to push or to plan his future lessons or future teaching?
Yes, we agree with you, because we are after fluency, not accuracy.
Yes, that's it. Where to go next? This is what you should think of as a teacher. That the next step, or your work or your work goes in vain and without any benefit. Okay, if you don't improve your work, so what's the benefit behind teaching? Okay, look at this one. What do you think of the self-assessment strategies and tools? Do you have any suggestions for this? Names. I want names. What are the self-assessment strategies that the teacher can use? Quickly, please. Should I go?
Checklist, self-assessment.
Checklist. Excellent.
Dr.
Checklist.
Ahmed?
What else? What else?
Exit ticket.
Exit ticket. Excellent.
Raising of thumbs. Raising of thumbs.
Great.
Haneen said checklist and Hannah said rubrics.
Rubrics.
Criteria.
Yes. Okay, let's see.
You have 2 minutes, Dr. Ahmed. Okay.
We have the what we call traffic light system. Do you know any idea about traffic light system?
Yes. If you understand, you say. If you don't, you say.
Yes, if you understand, that's a green. If you don't understand, that's what? Red.
Red when you're
not sure. So what? It's what?
Yellow. Yellow is when you
are
not very.
Amber. Yes, excellent. Look at this one. Mark when we're using a scheme. Okay, marking scheme using a check-in sheets or checking lists, graphic organizers. We have also flashcards. Okay. What about this traffic light? I'll go quickly over this. Okay, this red means can't understand. Yellow means not too sure. Green means clear understanding. This is how can we apply traffic light, because it's important. You can apply at the beginning. So I am going to explain it in a quick way to get an overall of the class understanding. You topic checklists are given at the beginning, okay, of the class. So used by the teacher to structure the planned learning. And green first, he can assign that green comes first and then red comes later, okay? At the end of the topic, after explaining or presentation or discussing the topic, students re-traffic their lights. Is it a good idea for you?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a great one. You can make 3 files, plastic files, and use them at the beginning or at the start of your class, and put it in your desk. Okay, students can write or give you the idea that they understand, that they don't understand, they are not sure from, and they classify them like this at the beginning. And after that, you can use them again to rearrange the papers of the students in the same files. Okay, is it okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
We have also KWL. Let's say it's a famous one and known one for you.
Yeah. What I know, what I would like to know,
what I want to know, and what I have learned. Okay. We can add also how. How will I learn? Okay.
How will I?
So
yes,
this KWHL. Okay. You can read about it on the internet.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Look at this one. What do you think PMI diagram means?
Say again.
PMI diagram. We
PMI.
call it
beginning, middle, and end.
Look at this one.
Beginning, middle, and end.
plus. What's with plus mean here? What is it?
Positive.
Positive. That I
Positive.
understand.
Middle. Middle.
Minus.
And
what about the I
minus.
letter?
In between.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Interesting. They're like this: plus, minus, and interesting. Look at this one. Look at this picture. What do you think they are doing here? The students are doing here.
Sharing.
Talking partners. They can talk to each other. I give them a topic and they can talk freely like this. Okay. We have also checklists like this one. I distribute this on the students. So the students, look what I can do. I list the rubrics here on the left. The student will check not yet, sometimes, always. Okay. Is it clear? Is this one okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Look at this one. Look at this one. Thumb up, thumb down. It's an easy one for you. Thumb up, thumb down. Okay.
Yeah, Dr. Ahmed, many strategies here.
What?
Many strategies.
Yeah. I'll go quickly. Look at this, the portfolios, and this is an important one. So I shall go in a quick portfolio. Every student should have a portfolio for his work. It's a collection of a child's work, show improvement, range of work, strength and interests, best work, and like this. The teacher can do this hard copy, or can use it electronically on the internet or on the Google Drive. Okay. Is it clear for you? Is it simple for you, this one? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We have also
please.
concept mapping.
Yes, please.
Mm-hmm. This is the last one for me. Concept mapping. Look at the picture and the picture will explain itself. I have more 7 slides. Okay. If you
can skip them.
If you
share your presentation?
Yes, he will share his presentation, guys. No worries.
Okay, so I would share this online assessment strategy, some of the most famous assessment strategy that you can use online. So you will find them in my presentation. Thank you so much for your time and your patience, and thank you for all of you.
Thank you. It was excellent.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Yes,
you so much.
It's a fruitful session today, Mr. Dr. Ahmed. Thanks a lot for your sincere effort, Dr.
Thank you
Ahmed.
so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed. Thank you.
Actually, this session needs more. The whole conference, it was a really fruitful. It was full of information. Actually,
Yes.
Dr. Ahmed was, super scholar. He had a lot of information. Thank you so much, Dr. Ahmed, for participating with us today. It was a nice and amazing session indeed.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you, guys. We're gonna have a break, guys. Okay. Can you please stop your presentation, Dr. Ahmed? Stop sharing. Okay. Thank you so much. Please answer the question on the chat box because we are running out of time. And
okay, if you have any questions, okay, I'm going to answer them.
Okay, please answer the questions on the chat box and on Facebook Live, please.
Okay.
Because if people, guys, we have 10 minutes of break. Please come back at no, we have a little alteration in the schedule, so we need to come back at 10. No, we have 10 minutes, so we have to come at 9:40. Okay, 9:40. Okay. See you at 9:40 for coffee. Okay, break for coffee. Bye for now. Keep your internet working and come back again at 9:40. Bye.
So you will enter again if we leave?
Yes, you can have, this is the agenda, conference agenda. Try to come back again at 10:40. This is a break for coffee.
Yeah, but can we, means we get out of the Zoom and come again? That's fine. You will enter. You will
Yes,
enter.
you can. Yes.
If you have
You
the
will
link,
let-
it's okay. Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
if you have the link. All right.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Bye for now.
God bless you, man.
Mr. Yasser, will you please insert your bio in the first slide?
Okay.
Thanks.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back again. Are you here, Mr. Yasser?
Yes, I am.
I think we recharged our batteries within this 10 minutes of break.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll share your Just Bio. Welcome back and hello everyone. This is Mr. Yasser again from Egypt. Mr. Yasser is an English teacher for 25 years. He has graduated from Faculty of Education, English Department, and has been teaching English curriculum and training teachers for 5 years. He's a Relo trainer and Nile TESOL member. Hello, Mr. Yasser, and you can start your wonderful session.
Hello there. How are you? I'm gonna promise you that will be a short session, as Mr. Dr. Ahmed took all the time and
No.
after me. It's such a preparing session for Armin, as I'm going to teach or prepare that session. Just let me share. Okay. So my session is entitled How to Teach Reading for Young Learners. This kind of session is for young learners and teachers who teach young learners. Also, especially for teachers here in Egypt and all over the world. I'm going to explain some steps how to teach reading through easy steps. Let me share the first one. What do you think about this first picture? What can you see? What does it stand for? And why it's important to have such pictures in our classrooms?
So Yasser, will you please share the slides in a slideshow?
Okay, would you like that?
Yes, Mr.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so here is my first question. What did it stands for, and why do we should hang some posters having books in our classrooms? Why?
Here is Hannah said, yeah, this is starting with warming up. And Yamela from Malaysia, she said that she attracts the attention of students reading. And Iman, she said that she's used pictures for young learners.
Yes, actually, great answers. That picture refers to that reading is very important, and our students should focus on reading. We know that a good reader is a good speaker because he has a lots of information, lots of vocabulary, and he can explain himself well in many situations. So it's very important for our students to focus on reading through the early stages in their life. So the agenda of today, how to help your students to read and how to teach your kids or even your students to read, and finally, simple steps to help students to read. So my icebreaker questions: why we mainly read? Why do we mainly read? Why do read at the first place? Maybe for adults and for children at the same time. Any answers?
To know about a certain topic that we don't know.
Of course, yes. Great one.
We mainly read.
Yes, yes. Any further answers?
We mainly read to widen our knowledge.
Yes, that's exactly what I needed to hear.
Mr. Yasser, please unmute yourself because I have a lot of noise. Sorry for that. So I had to mute everybody. Unmute yourself, Dr. Yasser, please. Unmute yourself.
So, can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So mainly you say that we read to enrich our knowledge, and because reading increases your vocabulary and your knowledge of how correctly use new words. Reading helps us to clarify and articulate what you want to say. The knowledge you gain from reading give you lots to talk about with the others, let you to be a communicative person. When you read a lot, you are able to speak a lot with the others, and good readers, as I said, good readers are good speakers. So why do some children read before others? Why some children are struggling in reading rather than others? Why do you think? Is it because they are good reader naturally, or they are have the ability or the heavenly gift of logical awareness? So you just tell me, why do some children read before others? No answers?
Mr. Yasser, Amira said learning styles, and another one, Haneen, she said development stage and individual differences.
Yes, and different backgrounds and different knowledge. Of course, in your class, you don't have one kind of background. You have different kind of backgrounds and different knowledge. So some students are coming to your class while they are able to read mainly from their parents at home, and they are naturally, they can manipulate the sounds or even reproduce them naturally, so they can read them well. So they are able to read short stories or even short or simple sentences. So I think that this is not the problem of the teacher, but it's naturally that some students can read early before the other students. So let's go to the next one, the nature of reading. You know that the reading is a skill that's often taken for granted, but some teachers do not focus on that kind of skill, and because it may take some time to recorrect or even help your students to decode or pull them each sentence to help them read correctly. So I guess that this kind of skills that we should focus more and more in it. The reader needs to be able to make sense out of text. So some students can read well, but they cannot understand what they are reading. They have that kind of logical awareness. They can manipulate sounds, as I told you, but actually they cannot understand each word they are reading. And that's because they do not have that archive of sound words. They don't have that large vocabulary in their minds that they need to recall when they are reading. The term literacy, and I'm asking you, what does it mean, literacy? What does it mean, literacy? Anyone? What does it mean, literacy?
You can skip it because you have a little time left, okay?
Okay, the term illiteracy has different meanings, but in the context of education, a literate person who is someone who can able to read with understanding, the one who can understand what he's really reading and can express in different kind of vocabulary. Okay. Prepare your students to read. How you just prepare your students to read? Beginning readers need to have phonological and phonemic awareness, and that we will talk about later. And teaching alphabet is the basis needed for the spelling words, and then the vocabulary, the words that the readers know and need to be able to understand what's being read. And the final one, the fluency comes at last. You just prepare your students to have that phonological awareness, and then you teach them how to manipulate sounds, how to reproduce them naturally, and then the final process is fluency. It comes next when the reader is able to go through the text fluently. Of course, pre-reading and activities and background knowledge is necessary for literacy. Okay, that picture is the first process, stands for the first process when you teach reading. When you teach a new language, you need to teach its alphabet. Without teaching alphabet, your students will not be able to talk or speak that language. So, teach your students the alphabet. Oh, when your students has developed a word, I'm sorry. When your students has developed word awareness, begin breaking down words into individual letters, and that's what we call decoding words into smaller sounds, although the alphabet songs is the most classic names. So some teachers use nursery rhythm and nursery songs to teach the students how to produce the alphabet naturally. Try getting creative and explain each of the letters with their names. Of course, you can have some kind of funny games that you can use to make sure that your students understand fully and they can distinguish between letters. You can ask them to fish letters from the ground, making them from phones, and you just pronounce one sound and ask them to fish it. Of course, I can say also that you need to teach them the lowercase first. Lowercase is very important when you teach the alphabet because, you know, the capital letters are only 5% in reading, so they are not mainly important at the first place. So you have to teach them how to know the lowercase first. Okay. And then here we go with the second one, and here is the how to develop phonemic awareness. Phonemic awareness is very important. Your students should be able to know or identify the sounds and manipulate them because they are so tricky sounds. And some kind of letters has more than one sound, so you have to teach them how to gain that phonemic awareness. One of the most important steps in teaching reading is associating a spoken sound with a letter or a letter pair. The process is known as phonemic awareness. But how can I do that? It's a kind of a long process. By the way, you have to focus on a single letter, a sound at a time, each time, and avoid confusion and build a solid foundation by working at a steady pace through all of the speech sounds. Give them a real life examples of these sounds. For example, they can ask them to give him a sound which starts with a sounds, and he model the answer with a word is apple. So it's a guessing game. Your students will be able to gather or grasp many words starting with this kind of sound. Another one, teach your students rhymes. Rhyming teaches phonemic awareness and letter recognition. In addition to the most basic English words, read nursery rhymes to your child and then eventually make lists of easy read such as mop, top, flop, and pop. And of course, you can see here the family OP, and you can just add different consonant each time so your students manipulate the sound easily. When you teach that kind of reading skill, do not focus on grammar. As Mika said before, that grammar should put repetition, and it's early stages for your students to manipulate the words and even the sentences. They cannot know or identify the subject, the verb, or even the object, but they can form a sentence naturally. So preschoolers and kindergartens and first grades are very concrete in the way they think and cannot handle complicated concepts. By the age of 4, most English-speaking children already have an excellent grasp of grammar and in due time. So when you teach reading, do not stop them when they mistake or make some mistakes in grammar, but just let them go through reading. Do not pause them time after time. That's because it would make them more lazy, and we not encourage them to read more. And here we are, how to enlarge that kind of vocabulary in their minds, how to teach them a lot of vocabulary and how to use them to enhance that kind of words. Of course, sight words are very important and high frequency words. That's kind of what we said, to build up an archive of sight words. But certain words in English vocabulary are spoken often, just like I, you, may, and some kind of verbs like have, has, and go, colors, and even family members, jobs. So these kind of words are very important for your students, and you have to help them to get them daily, and you have to even hang some posters containing some sight words to help your students look at them daily. These words are easier to memorize by shapes association than by sounds, and therefore known as a sight word. Okay, there is a link on the internet. It's called Dolch, D-O-L-C-H. Dolch words stands for the high frequency words that students need to have to help them read. Some sentences includes some important words, and they cannot form a sentence without them, as I told you before, just like as I told you, the pronouns, subject pronouns, some easy verbs, colors, and so on. So it's very important to get that some kind of sight words. And from that size, when you just look in it, you have the ability to gain what kind of sight words are suitable for your children, your grades 1, and so on. Okay. So we get another step, which is very important. Now your children are able to read. So you have to help them to read the whole stories by encouraging explicit phonics use and recognizing vocabulary. At this time, they should have the access to short stories, pictorial stories, pictures which explains everything. And you have to read these stories aloud and help them to imagine or visualize what's come next. You can ask them some easy questions to measure their understanding, and without that, you will not be able to know if they really follow you or not. So it's very important. It's very important to let them at this time of process to have the ability to accept the book by themselves, to read by their own. And without that, they will not be able to step forward in front of the class and read and be courageous to do that. So now your students are able to read and they have the courage to read a whole story, a simple one, by the way. In this process, you should let your students describe the story for you. And that's what we call retelling a story. After every reading session, have your child describe what the story was about to you. Try to get them to be detailed. In this process, you just combine two skills together. Your students read and then he speaks. So you combine the two skills and your students will be able to use the whole sight words to describe what he's already gained from the story. You can ask them about a simple moral and they can explain what they have already gained from that kind of stories. Okay.
Okay, have you finished?
No, I have a little more.
Can you go to the last slide, please, Dr. Yasser?
Okay. So here is the most important strategies to help your students to read freely. Phonemic awareness, which means the ability to hear and manipulate the different sounds in words. Number two, phonics, recognizing the connection between letters and the sound that they make. Vocabulary, understanding the meaning, words, the definition and the context. Reading comprehension, which means that your students will be able to understand meaning of text, both in the story books and information books. And the last step, which is the higher one, fluency, the ability to read aloud with the speech to understanding and accuracy. So here is one video which is called Fast Phonic. It's on the internet. It's a paid app, but you can have it for a free trial for 30 days through subscribing and giving your email. So
welcome to Fast Phonics, the complete systematic synthetic phonics program that is both rigorous and full of fun. Learning to read is a complicated process made up of 5 essential elements: phonemic awareness, phonics instruction, vocabulary, fluency, and comprehension. These are the 5 building blocks that children need to master to become fluent readers. Phonics is a crucial building block, widely acclaimed by researchers, literacy experts, and educators. For young children to read English successfully, they need to understand the alphabetic code. There are 26 letters of the alphabet, 44 sounds or phonemes, and different ways to spell these sounds. It's important that children learn the association between letters and sounds in a direct and systematic way, which is how synthetic phonics instruction works. The Fast Phonics program highlights the proven power of systematic synthetic phonics instruction to boost reading skills fast. The program is based on best practice educational research and is closely aligned to the letters and sounds sequence. What's included in the Fast Phonics program? A sequential program of 20 peaks, which introduce letter sounds systematically. Each peak covers one set of letter sounds thoroughly, with more than 20 activities, videos, interactives, and books for students to work through. Hundreds of highly engaging interactive activities where children practice key phonics skills, including letter sound recognition, blending all through the word, spelling skills, non-words, reading captions, and extended text. The program includes dozens of beautifully illustrated decodable books, and it really is fun. Fast phonics is the most fun kids can have as they learn. The Fast Phonics world is a vibrant mix of dynamic maps, upgrades, and exciting learning activities, where kids can earn Yeti coins and gems and have a laugh. Fast Phonics will keep children coming back to laugh, learn, and see what's next. Fast Phonics. Learning to read with phonics has never been so much fun.
Okay, Dr. Huwaida, you have cheated on me. It's only 14 minutes and I haven't finished most of my slides, but it's okay as we have
Actually, we are so sorry because of what happened with Dr. Ahmed. You are so super nice and your accent was like, you know, it was nice and I like your presentation. I guess everybody here liked it. And they say amazing video. Miss Marwa needs the link. Hello, Miss Marwa. She needs the link for the video. And everybody here is communicating. It was a nice session, but I guess we are running out of time. Thank you so much, Mr. Yasser, and wish you a wonderful night. And everybody here is so super nice. Thank you, guys.
Thank you all. It was so beneficial for us. So proud of you all. Thank you, Mr. Yasser.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Guys, we have here Dr. Armin Kasabian. He is the next one. His name is Armin Kasabian and he has master's degree in teaching English to speakers of other language. He's also a teacher for more than 13 years of experience in public high school in the United States and abroad also. He also was trained as a teacher in Madagascar, and he trained in Mauritius, and an English language fellow and in Brazil as Fulbright scholar. He is passionate in inspiring and inquisitive, creative, innovative, and self-reflective teacher. Also, he has virtually trained over 2,000 teachers this past during the COVID-19 pandemic. Also, he has an educational YouTube channel, Global Educator podcast radio show, and created many songs for students learning English. Wow. I presently teach him in a he is presently teaching in a primary school and hosts a virtual parenting conversation club that has been in the news of Egypt, Korea, Iraq, and Poland with more than 450 teacher and student participants. Welcome. Wow, what a professional career, Dr. Armin. Thank you. And the floor is yours.
Wonderful. Thank you, Huwaida. That was a great introduction. I thought you were talking about someone else. Making a joke. Let's see how I can pin my video. Okay, good. Just let me know how long you want me to present for so I can finish based on what you want.
Okay, let me show you how much time do we have. Okay, you can have it here. I guess from 10, now it's 10:19. You can have till 11, maybe 10:55, 10:55, okay?
Thank you. Just so
You
I
can take to 11. Okay, thank you.
All right, nice. Well, thank you, Huwaida, and I really enjoyed hearing the speaker right before me and all the other speakers. This is a great opportunity, and thank you, IELTA Egypt, and all the wonderful teachers who are with us who want to practice learning new skills and constantly improving. So thank you for being here. My aim today is to show you some digital resources that I use in my classes. And let's see, I'm going to just mute people. Okay, good. So the first resource is called ABCYA. And the second resource is called Lexia. And the third resource I'll talk a bit about is called Get Epic. And these are similar to what Dr. Ahmed was just talking about, was building our students' phonics skills and then getting to beginner reading. And you can even get more advanced if you want to. So the fourth resource will be Reading A to Z. And the fifth one, and there's so many online, I just have VOA Learning English. So we're going to go exploring resources today. I will show you a short video. I'll show you some of the options inside of each resource and then one sample activity. And that's what we're going to do today. And I will do my best to finish appropriately. So let's start off with our first resource. This is a free one, which is always good. I want to know how to say free in Arabic, ABCYA. You can sign up for it, and your students can too, and you get educational games.
Is the leader in educational games for kids. 10 years at the top of its class, ABCA is a trusted learning tool enjoyed by thousands of teachers and millions of school kids in over 150 countries. ABCA is the brainchild of a public school teacher and has grown to become one of the most popular educational gaming websites for kids. Each month, thousands of elementary schools visit ABCA, exploring, discovering, and learning more than 1 billion times each year. Featured by Apple, USA Today, the New York Times, Parents Magazine, and thousands of happy teachers on Twitter. Now you can use abca.com on your phone or tablet instantly. Visit our website or download our mobile app today. Put school in your pocket. Visit abca.com and let the fun and learning begin.
Beautiful. So that's them telling us a little bit about ABCYA. What I like about this first resource is it's free. Oops. Okay, good. So let's check it out a little bit more. I hear myself on double. But how does this work? You will sign up for this, and you're not going to do it with me today. And afterwards, you will have many games that you can do with your students live, and later on let them practice on their own. I work with students who are around 9 or 10 years old, but they still need things related to what Dr. Ahmed was just saying, to basic literacy. So you can see here they have games for English, and you could choose a topic that's relative that you want to explore. And my advice in using this resource would be to not just give the link to students, but to choose one topic that you want to go in deeply with them, practice doing it, and then let them practice it on their own. So I'm going to show you something that I recently learned from a kindergarten teacher for syllables. And what's really difficult in English is some words are digraphs, which means they have 2 letters, but maybe it's 1 sound. So this is a good practice for just finding syllables. So I just found this activity, and we'll just give you the sample. I hope I'm not talking too quickly. So how does this work? You choose a game, and then this is for finding syllables. So how many syllables and being able to hear the difference in a word. So let's check out the first game.
Syllables.
Okay, so I press play. Just showing a way of doing this game. Each one's different.
Read the word on the bat's belly. Then find the bat on the bottom branch that has the same number of syllables. Drag that bat to meet his friend.
So obviously, if you play this for students, they may not know what all of this means. Even for me, I had to read it twice. So you would have to explain it to them first
is a part of
as
a
teacher.
word that is counted as a unit and usually contains a vowel. For example, bat contains 1 syllable and apple contains 2 syllables. One way to count syllables is to put your hand under your chin and then say the word. Count the number of times your jaw drops while you say the word, and you'll know how many syllables there are.
Bat. So that's what they're saying. I was going to show this pointing. So this is the first fun game. I'm just showing it. So here's our first word. It is
everything.
Whoa, that's a lot. So if everyone could put their hands up for a second, we're going to practice doing the syllables of it. So everything. think that's the right. So everything. How many? Everything. 3. So we're looking for everything. This is a way of teaching words part by part. And now I'm going to check out. And. Well, it's only 1, so no.
Generation.
Generation. Generation. That's 4, so no. I don't know what it's doing, but it is exercise. So you would take the one that's the right one, exercise, which is 3, and you would move it up. So it's just a first little game. And that's the first one. So I'm just showing it a little flavor of teaching syllables, but you could also teach parts of words. Oh. Okay, I'm not going to go through all of them. I can't see the chat box, so I'm going to see what's happening for a second. I just was showing the first resource. Beautiful.
Yes,
Mona said
they say clap.
Clapping is great.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. You know, whatever flavor it is, what I saw someone else do was the beginning of word, such as apple, the middle, exercise, you know, you get down to your legs, it's the end of the word. However you want to do it, but I think moving the body with parts of words is important so that students can get each part of it. So that's our first resource. All of them will be given to you after. So I'll X out of that. All right, what is our next resource? This one, sadly, is not free. It's called Lexia. It's $40 per student for an academic year. They use it a lot in my elementary school. This is not a high school resource necessarily. And I'm going to just show you a little bit of what it does, and then we'll go to the next resource. I'm just introducing you a general sense of what resources are used. And what's nice about this resource is it measures students' development over time. And if they don't get certain skills, it gives them time to practice it. So let's learn about it.
The learning model begins with students working independently online to build fundamental reading skills at their own pace. When students log in, they first see their personal student dashboard. The dashboard helps students, educators, and even parents to track progress towards individualized usage goals. At the beginning of each level, students choose one of 2 warm-ups and try to beat their highest score. Warm-up activities help to promote speed of processing and automaticity. The activity selection screen promotes self-monitoring and student ownership of their learning. Students control their individual learning paths throughout each level, and this screen helps them keep track of their progress through new skills. In addition, there are interactive fun facts that keep students engaged and help them learn more about the world they're exploring.
Hannum and Langer start their mornings by giving off a booming whoop sound.
Each activity incorporates instructional branching, which allows students to work independently, providing immediate support only when needed. Progress bars, animations, and the ability to repeat directions further strengthen students' self-monitoring and executive function skills. And to support autonomy for English language learners, directions in Core 5 are available in Spanish, Mandarin, Haitian Creole, Vietnamese, Arabic, and Portuguese.
Okay, 1 second. All right, I think you're unmuted, Hawaida. So that is our next resource. It is a bit more expensive, but I want to just show it to you. And what's nice about it is it's another gamification for beginner readers, right, for lower literacy. I think that I've unmuted you, Hawaida. Let me check. Hawaida. Yes. Okay. So what's our next resource? This is one of my favorite ones. I've shown you ABCYA, shown you Lexia. ABCYA can be downloaded on phones and works on Google Play Store or iPhone. Lexia only works on computers. So just I'm giving you a general. So what is our following resource? And that last one was a gamification resource. I'm not going into all the details of it because I want to maybe field questions, but this is one of my favorite ones. It's called Get Epic. And what's really good about it, it's free and it can work for different ages and levels. So if you haven't yet created an account, and you don't have to do that now, I encourage everyone to eventually create an account with Get Epic. Okay, and I've created the link here. You get access to 40,000 books for free. And let's learn a little bit in a video. We'll explore the resource, and then I can show you one of my favorite aspects of it. Oh, so I'll open the video here, actually. Okay.
For kids 12 and under. Once on Epic, your child will unlock a world of reading, learning, and discovery, getting instant, unlimited access to more than 35,000 high-quality books, videos, and so much more. Kids on Epic get to explore their interests in a safe, kid-friendly environment with no ads or in-app purchases. Epic's vast library features thousands of books, read-to-me and audiobooks, and learning videos. From animals and DIY to award-winning literature, STEM, and everything in between. Epic is personalized for your child, so they get recommendations based on their interests and evolving reading level. Got a future artist at home? A Lego fanatic? Or maybe a science lover? Kids love to choose what they read and watch, and with our constantly growing library, the possibilities are endless. To reinforce their learning, kids can take fun quizzes to test their knowledge and earn badges and rewards, so parents can track their progress and kids can feel proud of how much they've learned. Kids can easily and safely access Epic anytime, anywhere, online or off. It's an entire digital library of knowledge and fun at their fingertips, and it's just one click away. Discover why millions of kids love reading on Epic. Start your free trial today.
So it is actually a free resource, so you don't have to pay for it. What I particularly like about this, X out of it, is once you create and you sign in as a teacher, you would create a class code, which is given to you. And this is how you invite your students into your classroom. So I'm just giving you an example. This is the class code, similar to Google Classroom or any, of these learning systems that have a code. This code will allow your students to be tracked. So I could go to my student and I can track how often they stayed in the book, when they read it, how long it took them to read it. So that's a nice resource when you have students actually log in as students. So, and feel free, Hawaii, if someone's asking a question, I can respond to it. But what I really like about this resource is, sometimes our students, like my students live with their families and some of their families don't speak English. So the only access they get to English is me or some of the technology that I can give them access to. So what I like about this is I can research based on age level or grade, and I can also research audiobooks or read to me books. And to me, a great way of learning a language is seeing the words and trying to connect the sounds with the words, and having someone read to you is a really nice way. And there's comics, there's videos it explained. And what's really nice is when you get to an end of a book, often there is a quiz. So this is another resource. I can show you a short example of what it sounds like to have a book read. And what you can do is you can create assignments for students and connect it with Google Classroom, or you can create something that are called folders. And a folder means that I like my certain series of books. You can see I have one set of folders for my second grade students, another one for beginner learners for learning English sounds, and then I'm doing a coding class for Brazilian coders, and I have books related to that. So I can create collections for each of my students. And I think that's better to give limited choices. It's a little bit like a buffet. If you have too many choices, you don't know what to order. So we give them one choice and we give them time to read it with us. And I'll explain afterwards a way that you can have them practice what they did individually. So here's a sample of a read aloud.
Your feeble feline brain is no match for Master Hamster.
Hamster.
Cat Ninja, silent master of cat fu in
Kung Fu.
The Great Hamster Heist. Part 1.
So as a student is listening to this, they could practice repeating it and following it with their hand, which is an important skill because sometimes my students, they're going from one line and they skip 3 lines down or 2 lines down. So just practicing following words with your finger could be a beginning literacy skill. Chat box is popping. Let's see. Oh, I mean saying okay, good. Well, Hawaida, I will unmute you, not a problem. Okay, so that is our third resource, okay? It is Get Epic. I highly encourage you to sign up for it. And once you sign up, you would give your students the choice to sign up, and they would sign up as students. And you could also invite parents to sign up so that parents, students, and teacher are all accessing the same resource and seeing what kind of work students are doing. Hawaida, you're okay?
Yeah. Yes, I am. Thank you.
Okay, good.
I was okay.
All right. So we're going now to our fourth resource. Okay. So I'm just going to mute you because it's a little squeaky. Is that okay, Hawaida?
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. So what is our fourth resource? I've told you how to sign up, and I'll give you this link. This one, I'm sorry, everyone, it's $100 for the year. But it has something that I really like for teaching reading skills, which are leveled text. So I'm still going to show you a little video about it. It's called Reading A to Z. And there's also Learning A to Z, where it has many different topics. With that $100 subscription that your school would make, you would have a lot of resources at hand on a lot of topics. And what's really powerful about Reading A to Z is you'll get lesson plans and worksheets, which is incredible, right? Because you have basically the whole lesson made up for you if you want to use it. So I'll play the video first, and then after we'll explore the resource. So what is this Learning A to Z? Reading
A to Z, we create research-based pre-K through 6 learning resources that empower teachers and engage students around the world. We help students become proficient readers, supporting flexible whole class, small group, and one-to-one teacher-led instruction, making reading practice more accessible and personalized, adapting instruction and support for each student, and assessing and reporting student progress to inform future instruction. We help students improve communication skills, providing an array of lessons and other teacher support tools, supporting students with process and creative writing instruction, and improving students' vocabulary through context and collaboration. We help students develop scientific
So it goes into Learning A to Z, which is not what I'm actually going to show you. I'm into something called Reading A to Z, which is one of their programs. So I'll just show you a little flavor, and I'll give you all the links. Everything that you want is all in this Padlet, and I will give it to you. Okay? So don't worry. So let's check out a little bit what this is. So I was talking about sounds. You could research a certain sound and try to find a book about that sound. You could just search general books here, and you can get books actually in different languages. So some of my students may speak Spanish, but they don't really know how to read it or write it. So maybe them developing their first language is just as important as them developing English. That's one thing I've learned. Thank you, Raz Plus. Thank you, Vida. There's one thing I've learned: if students don't have literacy in their first language, it's going to be really hard for them to learn literacy in a new language. So that may not be what we're doing as English teachers, but it's just something to have in the back of our minds, that they should have some element of, their own language as well. So I could choose a level of a book here. I could choose a language, could choose different topics. Let's see, do they even have it in Arabic? No Arabic, sorry. So let's just choose one book in English. Okay. This one's called The Bookstore. I'm just going for beginner books, but they have more advanced books. I do a lot of books with about animals with my students because they like that. So when you open up a resource, it shows you all these colors over here. I think this was related to what Dr. Ahmed was talking about before about how we can measure students' development. And what happens is their level, if it's much lower, it's over here. And as they go higher, it becomes higher in the alphabet. So what do you have here? Similar to EPIC, books can be read by students or they can be listened to. Okay, I'm not going to play it, but you could have it listened to. You can also create a pocketbook, which means you would print it out if you had that option and fold it up and give students pocketbooks. I'm not the best with printing things and folding things, so I usually download the books here as a PDF and I push it out on Google Classroom. Here's the worksheet I'll just show. So that's really nice because you can download worksheets, and this is me logging in, so I would have to log in. Okay, once you have a school login, this is an option, and you would have access to the worksheets. So I'm just giving a little flavor, and I'm going to show you what my students do after we read these books together. Is we do a specific thing. So I'll just give you a sample of a worksheet. Oh, well, there's a worksheet. Boop. And you can get all the worksheets, and that's nice if you work with worksheets. Okay. So I know I'm going fast. I'm going to just do one more resource, and then I can field questions, and that's about it. So what is our last resource for higher level students? This one is free. It's called VOA Learning English. And what is it? You have many stories and articles that are read by native speakers, and it tells a story. And I think it's a very helpful resource. So this one's talking about the suffering of students, of young people from the recent conflict that occurred between Hamas and Israel. So what's nice about this, and I learned it from a teacher named Rasha, actually in Egypt, is she would assign these to her higher level students, and she would create a Google form, or I think a Microsoft form, and she would have them write about the main idea, you know, what happened, and maybe new vocabulary they learned. And I found that was a really creative way of doing it. So you could listen for a moment, because I think reading and listening.
Hamas militants in the Gaza Strip. Gaza health officials say at least 63 children are among the 200.
Right. So it's read by someone. It's not read by a machine. And that's good to have like an authentic contact. The last thing I'm going to show you is what I have my students do, those who have access to books and no digital like computers or Chromebooks. They actually go through books, reading them and recording them. So after we do a book, either independent reading, I would ask them questions about their book. I actually have pull-out classes, so it's probably different than some of your situations, but smaller groups. And what happened with a girl? I only see a boy here. What happened? And this is using the last resource. It's Flipgrid for recording their, you know, video and their sound.
Oh.
What did you read about?
The boy has a card for Snoopy.
Okay.
It's a code.
A card? A card?
Code.
A card. So he got a card.
Code.
Oh, it's a code. Okay.
Yeah. And after.
So I won't go through all of them, but I find my students absolutely love to record themselves presenting whatever they're reading about or learning about. So you could take any of these resources and you could have them presented after. And sometimes we read it together, record it. It's just fun. So that's more or less what we do. So here's another one. We worked on this book together. I don't think his voice came through on this one, but We worked on the book together, and after I give my students time to read it on their own. So I'm just sharing what I've been doing recently because I work with lower level students. So these are two students reading together. All right. Well, I think that I've given a lot of ideas, and I'm ready for any questions. I'll try to check Facebook or oh, let's see. Normal saying this app is good, helpful. Oh, thank you, Haifa. I'm happy you enjoyed it. I'm really want to respect the time. I know it's late there in Egypt. If anyone wants to give me any feedback, you can. And as promised, here are all of the resources that I shared that you can use. I think, Hawaiidish, can we allow anyone to unmute and ask a question or write it in the chat box, or how do you want to do it? I'll stop sharing now, but everything that I presented is accessible here, and I'll just do it as a review. ABC, yeah, free. Lexia, paid. Get Epic, free. Reading A to Z, paid. VOA Learning English, free. Flipgrid, free. So I hope that helps give you a general sense of some of the options.
Okay, we have a question here. Can it be used to approach and target language skill holistically?
Sure. I think holistically would mean that you're talking about real life topics. So you're listening to it, you're speaking about it. You know, I don't think we have to start with writing. I think we learn orally first. We may do some writing, but no one learned just by writing. Maybe they have, but I would say in general, we also learn by speaking and talking and reading. So we have to combine all the skills. I think that's what is being said. Being asked.
Everybody here is interacting with saying it's beneficial. Thanks, Armin. Thanks a lot. It's an amazing app. There is Alexia, which is inability to read. You mean Ghada dyslexia, right? Ghada, you mean dyslexia, right? The inability to read and write. Maybe very useful resource. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you so much, guys. Okay, I have a question here. The one you use for adults or even for high school learners.
Yeah,
could we use it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Will you please share the Padlet you have already put on? Yes, we have here message.
I'll put it in the Facebook group as well.
Thank you, Armin. Here is the Padlet that contains, guys, the whole resources. Armin have just talked about it.
Can I answer Farah's question?
Okay.
Farah is asking a nice question about really long texts. And how do you break it down with really advanced vocabularies? I would say my students who have to write about advanced things, they can't necessarily even get one word. Like to pronounce one word is difficult for them. So what I do is I give them the beginning of sentences they can say or write parts of them, and they have to just practice filling in that word that they want to practice learning. I know that for one of my students, that was very helpful to just focus on words, because whole sentences, in general, we don't learn sentences. We learn parts of words. Maybe we learn a word, then we learn a phrase, and then finally we learn a sentence, and then maybe later paragraphs. So if we're jumping to really advanced things, I would just say focus on key vocabulary and just being able to say it, because I know sometimes if I take too much off to chew, I get frustrated. And I'm sure the students do too. I hope that answers it.
Thank you, Armin. We have here, Muhammad. There should be help for pupils who have how to deal with all these resources. Yes, you are. Yes.
So it's a little like buffet. Do you have buffets in Egypt? Buffet
Yes,
sorry.
we have.
We have buffet in America. Like usually it's Chinese buffet. It could be other countries, but there's a lot of Chinese buffet. You can't eat everything. Okay? If you eat everything, you'll get sick. So that's the same thing for these online resources. You try everything, you'll have a headache and you'll get sick. My suggestion is try one. Mona said you have it also in Lebanon. Great. Chinese buffet or Lebanese buffet? I advise you try one flavor, you try one technology, and you just do one. A Lebanese, wonderful. So that is my suggestion. I would preferably go for Get Epic. It's free. All types, great. Mixture of all cultures. I wouldn't do everything. I would just do one thing really well, and then you can build to the next thing. I hope that helps.
Mona Ibrahim said she wants all the types of buffets.
Funny. You're gonna have to have one at a time. Because if you try to chew off too much of a sandwich, you will choke, right? And it's the same for the students. If they try to chew off too much of the language, they will also choke and get frustrated. And I see it in my students, and when they get frustrated, I get frustrated. And I think taking a small thing is better than a big thing. Yeah, Arun has.
What about Voice of America?
It's great. It's a great resource, but I would say that it's for more advanced levels of students. For teaching, because if my students can't take apart words, like they can't necessarily get the phonics of one word, how will a sentence help them, right? So you really have to ask yourself what your students can do. Yeah, Hanan said bit by bit.
Yes, Muhammad. You mean kids, okay, Muhammad? Yes, slowly and steady win the race. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, kids are going to be experts just a few years, and they will be have a lot of experience with modern technology, better than old people.
Adults, yeah.
I agree. But they may not know how to use it to learn. And that's where we come in. They know how to use it to play. And
yes.
To communicate. Or
and
they
this
may
is the way. This is why we as teachers should manage all of these activities or all of these tasks or online tasks, okay, or online activities, and we can reach to our kids or our pupils easily.
I agree. And I
think thanks.
I agree, Mohammed. I think if we want them to succeed, we start small. We don't start.
Arun?
Yeah.
Arun is asking, I want to transform conversation to a video. Can you suggest like artificial characters? I like that. Can you suggest an app?
Oh, a conversation that you make or students make?
Yes, Arun, I guess
any
the
conversation, situational conversation, I just want to show them.
Okay, so you want to make a conversation into a video or into pictures?
A video, sir, a video.
Oh, well, there's some paid resources I think that you could get, but I don't know.
See, for example, I just want to make.
Armin, can I?
Sure.
You have so many apps that you can write on the Google Store, text, animated text. You're gonna make it like a video. You're gonna change the text into animation. There is a lot of application, I guess.
Yeah. There's
okay, Siham, Mona, Hanan, you can use reading theory for older students. Read theory. What do you mean by read theory, Hanan?
Another resource. I would say you could try it and see how they respond. I don't know it. But I think that they're more motivated if they feel that it's their level. But their level, they may be old, but they may be low level, right? So we have to realize that just because they're older doesn't mean that they may have the ability to do very difficult tasks. They may need more.
Yeah, Iman, are there online resources for teaching reading for adults? I guess Armin have just mentioned the two of them. Okay, you can answer this question, Armin. Reading for adults.
Yeah, American English has a lot. There's a lot of resources, but what I would just do is choose one topic that you want to develop with them. I use live worksheets a lot, whatever topic, and I bet Farah has a lot of ideas to why it does. But I think when we choose too many topics, we lose students. So I think one topic is important. Ooh, what is this reading theory? Reading advanced websites for social studies. Let's see. Is that free? She said she uses it. Anan, is that free? Reading theory? Is this? Right, it looks good. Oh, great, it's free. There's many resources. I think the problem is not resources. The problem is how to use the resource. Anyone can go find any resource, but not all of us. Thank you, Marisol. We're all trying to figure out how to use it and how to also have them show learning with it. Live worksheet is amazing. Yeah.
Hello, Marisol. My friend, Marisol. Muhammad, live worksheet is free up to till now. Yes, Muhammad, it's free.
No, I know it's free, and I do a lot of work on it. I'm lucky to teach grade 11 in one of the Gulf area, and that is really wonderful. I can do all things with it easily, and it makes me feel easy with the students. But it takes time to teach students or to tell students how to manage or how to respond to all the activities or all the tasks, whether drag and drop or fill in the gaps or even listen and respond, and yeah, and all of these activities. And thank you very much for your great webinar.
Most welcome. Is there any other question you want to ask Armin before he leaves? Armin have just put the link in the chat box. You can see, you can have a look at it.
Yeah, I'm just sharing. I also use live worksheets. I love it. And I have students practice posting their work after they do it. This is just another example. I use a textbook and I just post parts of my textbook and I have students work in here. Yeah, there's no other questions. It's been wonderful. If anyone wants to leave me any feedback, I would love it. And thank you, IELTA Egypt and Hawaii for organizing such a wonderful event. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Armin, for joining us today. It was a really, really wonderful session. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being
here. I love it.
All right. Don't be careful of the buffet. Remember that. All right. Bye. Masalam.
Bye bye. Bye, guys. Bye, everybody. Bye. Wish you good luck.
Hawaii, is there a closing ceremony?
Not really, because we have a lot of, a lot of timing. I guess people got tired, and it's 11 o'clock in Cairo time. In Cairo now, it's night time, so we don't have to take much time. Thank you, guys. I just want to thank you all for joining us today. Thank you. Oh, Muhammad, it's 1 o'clock. Bye-bye. Okay. It's 1 o'clock.
So early.
Thank you, Armin. Thank you, all the presenter. We want to thank all the presenters for today. You did a wonderful job today, guys. And I thank you for being here, Armin. Thank you, guys. Now, let's go. Bye-bye.
Hawaida, they're just asking for a
Yeah.
certificate. You'll email it to them. Is that how it works?
Dr. Ahmed will, I suppose he will email the certificate to them. And we have a WhatsApp group. I guess if he wanna, you know, if you wish to, Dr. Ahmed, are you here? If you wish to post the certificate here in the chat box, it would be okay. I like that. I like that idea. If you do so, yes.
Inshallah, I'm going to upload or download the data from the Excel sheet, okay, from the form, and after that, I'm going to send them by email or here in the chat box, okay, anywhere you want, but just.
I mean, you're gonna.
Yeah,
I mean, you're gonna send them on the WhatsApp group.
Yeah, we can send them on the WhatsApp group, or on or send it by email. It's okay, yeah. But I need some time to collect the data because we have more than 290 people. So
wow, wow, 290. That was a huge number today. Thank you so much, you guys, for joining us. Thank you for this
are
trust.
the people who registered in the Google form, okay? Well, we also have some people from the Facebook group, okay? So I have to, to filter all these people to stand on those who attended the 4 sessions or the 5 sessions, okay? And after that, I'm gonna send these certificates to them, inshallah. Okay, Armin?
Okay, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Armin. Okay, thank you, Dr. Ahmed. If you have any question before we leave, you can unmute yourself, guys. Unmute yourself.
By email, inshallah. Okay.
Okay. Hopefully, we're gonna send it by email, via email.
Okay. So be careful when you're writing your information in the form. Okay. Write your correct email.
All right. Any question, guys?
No, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, all of you.
Okay. Yalla, have a wonderful night, guys. See you next. We have a conference next month. Stay tuned and follow the Facebook page. Bye, guys.
Thank you very much. Bye. From